Back to the zone. Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. All right, I had a chance to sit down and interview Brian Baumgartner, a.k.a. Kevin Malone from The Office. Again, I'm a massive fan of The Office, one of my favorite shows. Grew up watching it with my parents. That was our, family show for a long time was The Office. Still watch it all the time now. Now they have these extended cuts and deep cut versions and all. Big fan of The Office, one of my favorite shows, and I hope that a lot of listeners are as well. Hopefully you're away from The Office today on this Labor Day. But here is my conversation with Kevin Malone, and we start off here by talking about a lot of fantasy football. If you don't know this, he's a Packers fan, big fantasy football guy, and I start off talking to him about some fantasy football. When it comes to team names, what are you rocking with? Is it Office related? Is it inside jokes? Is it just lame? Where's your team name come from?
No, it's lame. It's either lame or it's just grown up. I don't know. Mine's boring. And now I was talking to somebody before. I don't know if it's nostalgia or something, but now I don't want to change it because it's been so long and I've had the same sort of boring standard. It's not my name, but sort of like as close as you can get to it, type name for all these years. So now I'm not changing it. I don't know. The best was it wouldn't be popular there in Kansas City, but there's a guy who's in the league. And so, by the way, there are actors, Rainn Wilson, John Krasinski, Andy Buckley, myself. There's also directors, there's writers, there's crew members. And the assistant camera operator, Chris Workman, fantastic guy, huge football fan, great golfer too, by the way. He was a 49ers fan. So there was I don't know, it feels like 10 years where his name used the word gore. So from Frank Gore. So it was like Gorelicious, Gore. I don't know. There was more Gore. Gore is more. Gore is no more. There was always something Gore related for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I like that. I want to talk. You brought up directing there very, very quickly, and you actually had a chance to direct a Office episode, After Hours. That was your directorial debut, I believe. What was that like? Not just being an actor, but now you are actually directing something.
Oh, I loved it. I had such a great time. I had directed quite a bit in theater. My past life, my past profession, I worked in the theater and I had directed there. But we had an amazing cinematographer, camera operators who really understood the show and how it worked. So that it was definitely cheating on that regard, but being able to work with the other actors. And it was a complicated episode, that After Hours. A lot of it was spent in Florida. There was a trip down. The Office gang, half of the Office gang were in Florida, and there was a kind of some Jim Pam drama going on. But it was a lot of fun. I really, really enjoyed doing that.
Yeah, your first time doing the director activity on that episode, at least for The Office, and the alleged is Jim was supposed to cheat on Pam, and John was like, "No, I'm not doing that. We're not going to have that in the episode." So you had to deal with that on your Office directorial debut.
Yeah, it was never, and a lot has been discussed about that episode. This was with the character Kathy, who had come in, and I know at some point somebody said that it was written for him to cheat. That was never the issue. I think that what was the conversation and the controversy was sort of around for the drama to happen, there had to be this awkward encounter, but for everybody to know that Jim was not tempted to cheat while Pam was gone. So there was a lot of discussion, and part of it had to do with what The Office, in my opinion, what makes it so special was the attention to detail about the camera and where the camera was, and the fact that finding an excuse for Kathy to be in his room with the camera not in his room, so no witnesses to what was happening. Of course, it was witnessing because it was hidden, but sort of where that camera was. And anyway, yes, there was a lot of discussion during that episode from both Jenna and John about that relationship and not wanting to alienate fans because of it. But it made it all the more special for me.
So I lived in Philly for 3 years, so I knew some folks that lived in Scranton. What is that reception from you, at least your perception of that? Do people from Scranton dig you guys, or is it like, thanks for now, that's all we are known for is The Office? Because anytime I met someone from Scranton, I'm like, yeah, so big Office fan, huh?
Uh, I mean, I think I can say this. I have probably the one who's gone back the most. If I'm doing a tour of really any kind, I put Scranton on there as destinations that I'm going to go to, the book or if I'm doing something, I want to bring Scranton into it. They are so they are so receptive. They are so generous, so supportive of not just what I do, but other cast members as well. And there was a headline. Gosh, I can't remember the newspaper. It might have been the Scranton Times. It might have been in Philly, but um, the headline, this was when The Office had our first kind of convention there. We all went to town, not knowing what was going to happen. The Today Show showed up. Al Roker was right there outside the University of Scranton. So this is roughly season 3 or 4. Um, and there were tens of thousands of people who came to the town, and we were like, what is going on? I mean, that for me, that was like the first, like, whoa, like this is but the headline, to go back, was from coal to cool. And all of the people in town have expressed their appreciation for making, sort of putting Scranton back on the map and for making it a cool place again. And, I was just in New York. There was a fan event going on. So I'd traveled to the Meadowlands in New Jersey, right outside of New York City. And I can't tell you the number of people who said, on my way here, we went to Scranton. It's only a couple hours away yesterday, and we went to, the Bog, and we went to the Times building, and we went to the paper company building, and went to some of the bar establishments that the cast has had Sam Adams Oktoberfest in a number of times. So it's pretty cool. I'll share this with you. The last time I was there, I was shooting something. Again, came back to Scranton, and I'm in the mall, the central town center there by City Hall, and these three people came up to me, Italian, but like Italy Italian, Sicily, I think is where they were from, that had come to the United States, New York City, and had gone to Scranton because they were fans of The Office, and they were visiting some of the local sites, like Poor Richards is another one that everybody goes to. And they were visiting sites, and someone was like, hey, and this is with English, that is not their first language. Hey, I think you should go to City Hall right now. There's somebody you might want to see. And they had come, and watching their brains explode because they were with me. Like, how is he? Why does he live here? Like, this sort of like trying to understand. We just came here to like see the sights, and now you're standing here. It was a pretty, it was a pretty cool moment.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, he just lives here. He just
Yeah.
actually they all
I just
live
hang
in
I just
Scranton.
hang out at City Hall, just the plaza on every day.
That's what they do. It's
Yeah,
it's it's real. It was all real. Uh,
exactly.
I see the Peacocks, the paper, is going to be carrying on the workplace comedy tradition. Any chance we see a Kevin Malone appearance?
I don't know about that, but I will say, I just, the trailer just launched a few days ago. I thought they did a great job on the trailer. I mean, I can't wait to see it. Um because Greg Daniels is in charge, and whatever he does is incredible. So I had no doubt about that, but I thought they did a really good job of putting it together, making it clear this is something totally new. But I think you will, well, this is not like me based on watching the trailer. I was like, oh, this looks a lot like The Office. So I was excited to see it. I'm excited to see the show coming out, and I just Greg, his other show, which by the way, you should we're not talking about this, and I have nothing to do with it, but Upload. If you haven't seen Upload, it's a really cool, interesting show that I was a fan of, and I just moderated. So I was back with Greg and their cast there at San Diego Comic Con last week, but was able to hang out with Greg a little bit, and that was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. As an actor, whenever you watch back some of the episodes, do you watch it from an actor perspective, a fan perspective? And like, for example, like Scott's Tots, do you ever cringe during that? Like from the fans, like that one, I love the episode, but it's hard to not get that like, ooh, you know what I'm
Oh,
talking about?
for sure. Oh, for sure. You know, I've talked about this a little bit, and it's not that I'm not a fan of other things that I have done, because some shows I am, and some like I watch and then get invited to participate, and that's really fun. I don't really watch myself though. So I may watch an episode of something because I'm a fan of the show and I watch that. The Office was different. I I always watched that, and I felt like I was a fan, and felt sort of cheesy saying like I'm a fan of this show even though I was a part of it. So, I went back, um, wrote a book sort of detailing the journey of the show. So this was like maybe 18 or 19, 18 going into 19, 2019. Went back start to finish. And that was the first time I had done that. Like I'd picked up episodes here or there on Comedy Central or whatever, but I went back start to finish and watched it. And I watched it as a fan. And certainly other memories came back, or things that happened that day as we were shooting, but also things, it had been so long since we'd filmed early episodes for sure, like that I was like, oh man, I forgot this episode or this storyline even, or and so that was really fun for me. But no, to answer your specific question, I watch it now as a fan, and I'm not, I just, all the other stuff sort of goes away. Whereas there's really not anything else that I've worked on where everything else does go away. I'm either evaluating myself, or why did I do that? Or, no, this could have been done better or whatever. I just watch it as a fan now.
Did you ever have a favorite moment then when you watch it back now? Like for me, the basketball episode, and that's so early on, that one always makes me laugh incredibly hard. But do you have like a favorite moment now when you look back on The Office?
Yeah, it's hard for me. That is something that's hard for me, especially sort of the, you know, quote unquote big moments where things happen. They were either happening outside of the show, or, big in terms of the story, Jim and Pam kissing for the first time, or, like all of those, um, the Dundies, where we sort of are finally let out of the office and are like the first real show where we shoot something outside of the office. But for me, because I am such a big sports fan, the first Super Bowl that I ever went to, was invited to, The Office aired after that Super Bowl, and the episode was stress relief. So the fake fire drill and CPR and all of that stuff, like that has a real special memory and feeling for me. One, because I think the episode, which was an hour episode, was really good, but also just that that sort of puts us as a part of sports culture as well. The fact that it aired there brings added meaning for me.
Yeah, you have no idea how many flights on a plane I've seen that stress relief episode. It's too many to count. I know we got to get out of here. I want to say I really, really appreciate the time here. Massive fan of The Office. Good luck this year in fantasy football. That second overall draft pick. Do not take a cheap second overall. That is a reach and a half. Brian Baumgartner. Brian, really appreciate it.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it, Sterling. Good luck to the Chiefs this year. If there's one thing I can promise you, is that I'll be watching.
Welcome back to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Joel Pinfield, KCSN 1 Royal Way Pod. Joel, let's have some fun. An entire hour with Joel on Labor Day. We grind, okay? People are taking the day off. It's Labor Day, non-Labor Day, okay? If it was non-Labor Day, we wouldn't be here. It's Labor Day. We work.
Couple grinders.
Yeah, we got to grind this thing out, man.
It is startling. There's like no one here. I normally go back to try and mess with the sales staff. I love messing with the sales folk. It's just fun. It's what I do. I go back every single day. I always do actually even funnier because Kevin Malone, the office bit, I go, how's my favorite branch doing? You know, like I just walk in like I'm Ryan from The Office. I love doing it. It makes me laugh. So I think they're annoyed by it, but I'm going to do it either way because it's funny to me. It makes me happy. You know, who cares about how they feel? That's more or less my method. But they're not here today, and so I can't walk back. I walked back and was just sad. No sales back there. I was sad. But I'm happy now because Joel's here. Lot to get into, Joel. Obviously, the Royals game itself. Tyler Tolbert in center field. But let's talk about the big news. Let's start with Carter Jensen. Congratulations.
Oh, yeah.
Jack Caglione, welcome back. Luander Avila, welcome back. Jonathan India, placed on the 10-day IL, retroactive to August 30th with a left wrist sprain. Let's just start with the overarching picture. Were you surprised by any of the moves made for September call-ups?
From a Cags, Jensen, and Avila perspective, not really. The Jensen part of it is something I've been wanting to see for about a month now. And I think I mentioned it here, I talked about it on my show as well, that I think getting Jensen up, he's proved, kind of similar to Jack Caglione, really early on that he was too good for AAA and that AAA was not much of a challenge for him. And he was walking 16% of the time. The power had really come for him. Some of that is the offensive environment in AAA and in Omaha favors hitters more, but he was doing damage, and at a certain point, like the best way for him to learn and to get better is to do it against big league pitching. It takes pressure off of Salvador Perez. He doesn't need to catch 5 days, 6 days a week because you don't want to overexpose Luke Maile in the lineup more than once or twice a week. And really, Salvador Perez has not been good since the Freddie Fermin trade. I think he's hitting a $186 with an OPS around 600 since then. So he's wearing down a little bit from being a catcher in his mid-30s. This allows him to DH, play first base a little bit more, gets Jensen the experience. Let's see what Jack Caglione can do. He proved, on the rehab assignment, he was bonkers. Like it was just, again, proving that AAA is just not a challenge for a lot of these guys, and the only way for them to get better is to do it against big league pitching. And I think this month is a really good for these two guys specifically because I would expect both of them on the roster on opening day in 2026. There's going to be a lot of expectation next year with those guys in addition to what the core young guys plus Salvador Perez have been able to accomplish this year offensively. So you're getting them in. You know, Jensen gets his cup of coffee this last month, and Caglione gets to kind of try and reset from the really poor start to his big league career. They're getting an opportunity to play games of consequence without, I don't think, a ton of pressure on either of them because you're not injecting them in the lineup and going, you guys need to save us because no one else can do it.
Yeah.
But they get to come in and just, hey, let's get some confidence and just mash homers and just provide some left-handed power while playing games with a little bit of pressure to it because you're 3 games back of a wild card spot. There's still a chance, though low statistical chance. They get an opportunity to learn, and then you go into 2026, and it feels like they are not. I don't think they'll feel the same level of pressure. Then they're both on the opening day roster. Hey, here we go, and now this is your first real chance.
You're playing in again, not a great chance, but a playoff push where every game matters. You get to get some of the learning experience of this for, again, what we all assume the next few seasons of good Royals baseball.
Correct.
So now you get that first taste right now in a year when the odds are already fairly stacked against Kansas City. I do want to bring this up because since there was 3 guys, you get 2 September call-ups, right?
Yes.
But with the India being placed on the IL, that allowed 3 guys. Would they have been Jensen and Cags? or would they have gone with a bat and a pitcher? Because I do wonder who was the third guy. Who was the guy brought up basically because India's placed on the IL?
Yeah, I don't think there would have been really anybody else. Like, I don't think they would have gone back to the John Rave well for another month. But
My point is, which of the three, who would have been left off?
Who would have been left off? Probably Jensen.
Okay.
I think that would have been the one. I think India going on the injury list made it be like, okay, let's go ahead and do this. Now, maybe they wanted to have the third catcher for the last month, and maybe they leave Cags off, which to me would have been a bizarre decision. I would have vehemently disagreed with not giving him more big league at-bats the rest of this season. And getting Lewin Avila back, I'm excited to see what he can do, whether they decide to start him or put him in the bullpen. I think he should start on Thursday instead of Seth Lugo, but I don't know if he's stretched out enough to be able to do that. That may be like a piggyback day with Jonathan Bolin, like Avila goes 3 and maybe Bolin goes 3 and then Penn to win after that.
Yeah.
But maybe the Seth Lugo conversation is something we're going to do later. But
we'll do it now.
Okay, we'll go ahead and go with it then.
This is a trend that is devastating for the Royals' playoff chances.
100%.
Ever since the All-Star break, he has gone from a great pitcher to a guy who's frankly unplayable.
And it's completely unrecognizable from what he's been in Kansas City.
An expected ERA now in the year of a 5.3. Everything is brutal. The walk rate is drastically higher. He's getting hit just absolutely shelled. I don't know what happened from last year to this year. I mean, yes, there's always going to be a case of he was overperforming some of the underlying metrics to an extent because you have 9 pitches, 11, like he's
always going to outplay the metrics for the most part because he already kind of throws in the high 80s, low 90s. He throws a bunch of different pitches. Like it's kind of like the Luis Arraez, Stephen Kwan kind of archetype on the hitting side where they're going to overplay the numbers because of their ability to make contact, even if it's not necessarily hard contact, power, or anything like that. But continue.
But he had a 3.75 expected ERA last year, an ERA of 3. He had a walk rate that was the 86th percentile in all of baseball.
That's double this year.
This year it's a 5.3. This year's walk rate is in the 33rd percentile. It's just, I don't know what you do with Lugo. I am as confused as anyone. I wonder if the Royals pitching staff, if Seth Lugo himself is this perplexed. But when you look at it, it does not look like the same guy. He feels like he has to throw curveballs almost exclusively. I don't know if
because there's zero confidence in his fastball right now. It's not getting by anybody.
And the location's bad. I just don't know where the Royals and Lugo go from here.
Yeah, like this is one of those where you kind of dive into the numbers, and with the ability, the access to data that we have now with Savant and some of these other places, like you can see like arm angle, spin rate, velocity, all of those things, and across the board, there's nothing that jumps out to me that he's hurt. Like because the common denominator oftentimes is if you see the arm slot drop across the board, that's a shoulder, that's an elbow, that's something wrong. His arm slot is all over the place. Like it is up and down depending on the pitch, and that's not like he's trying to do that. He tunnels his pitches really well. It's why you make 9 pitches that effective. When it's that means your mechanics are off. That means it's just fatigue. And I know that may seem simple, but sometimes the most logical conclusion is the simplest one, and I think the best thing for him is just to skip a start or two, and just to have him for those last 3 weeks, because it is untenable sending him out there every 5th day right now. And I tried to stave off a lot of the concern because he went through a stretch like this last year. We had seen stuff like this before. He is a pitcher in his mid-30s. Like, okay, he'll figure it out. And the track record that he's had in Kansas City shows he'll have a clunker here and there, and then he'll figure it out. And then the next 3 or 4 starts are great. But this is 6 starts in a row outside of one that I'm like, man, this is ugly. And the Royals have no chance to make the playoffs if Seth Lugo is going to pitch like this. But they also need Seth Lugo to pitch because he is that important to this pitching staff. So it's kind of a weird situation. But the best thing for him is just to take a start, man. Like I think that's part of why you add Lewin Avila, because he can go and start a game for you, or that is your bullpen day, whatever the case. You still have Noah Cameron. You still have Michael Waka. You still have Michael Lorenz, and they're going to be able to cover innings. Brian Bergert's going to be able to do that as well.
I'm all in on Ryan Berger. We'll get to him in a moment. Him and even to an extent, Stephen Kolek.
Kolek looked great the other night, and that is a testament to Sweeney and Bove with some of the command issues he had in AAA. He didn't walk anybody on Saturday night. That was fantastic to see.
Seth Lugo's August is now wrapped up.
What ERA is probably like 10?
9.11.
Jeez.
9.11, 6 starts, 26 innings in 6 starts. Not great. Let me see some. Yeah, 26 and 2/3. His whip is 2.03.
Goodness. Yeah, he you could tell early it was going to be kind of ugly. And it was all 2 outs in the first 3 innings. 18
walks, 8 home runs given up in August.
Yeah.
I mean, it just he's walking guys and then giving up home runs. That is a horrendous combination.
Yeah, that's going to make the FIP look real bad, especially because he doesn't strike out a ton of guys. Now, to be fair, he did have the strikeout stuff going in that start against the Tigers, but everything else was pretty bad. And this is where one of the reasons why I liked when they signed Seth Lugo was they wanted him to start. And I know that people had their concerns signing a mid-30s pitcher to a 3-year deal. One of the reasons why I liked it was he's not your typical mid-30s pitcher with the tax on his arm that you often see because he was a reliever for so long in his career, and he was a little bit of a late bloomer. He throws 146 innings, comes back to his 206 last year, which I always am going to believe that is the outlier season for him in Kansas City. That doesn't mean that he's going to be bad the rest of the time, but I think that is going to be like the high water mark that we see from him.
Sure.
Now I think the other side of the coin that we're seeing from my original take when they signed him is he's put a lot of innings on his arm after really not doing it at any point in his career. This is 3 consecutive years throwing 145-plus innings. He's probably going to be up around 160, 170 by the end of this year. It is something to monitor now, and this is not trying to relitigate the contract extension and trying to be a referendum on that. It's not that. But it is going to be something to monitor. Maybe we need to temper our expectations from the Cy Young runner-up that he was last year, that he's probably just a solid 3 or 4 in your rotation moving forward, and there's still a ton of value to that.
He got down to a 2.65 ERA June 3rd, and now it's at a 4.15.
Yeah.
And what, a month and a half?
Yeah.
2 months?
It's been real tough. But maybe just that getting one start, getting basically 10 days off, just one start, maybe that could be the difference. And that's maybe a little bit of hopium, but I think the track record with him pitching has been too good for me to believe that he's all of a sudden just terrible.
Why haven't they yet? And maybe now they know that Stephen Kolek can do it. Now they've seen Ryan Berger do it enough that they know that he can do it. You do have options. You have guys. It's not like you were forcing, we have no one else. It's Lugo or it's a bullpen day. You have guys that it looks like are major league starters that you can just throw and plug and play, and they can get outs.
And, I mean, they've already given Noah Cameron a day.
Yes.
Because they skipped his start in the rotation this week, starting Kolek instead of Cameron. So I think they've shown that they have a willingness to do it. I think there was a certain amount of Lugo's a pro. Lugo's been great for us. He's going to figure it out. And like Sweeney and Bove, like they can game plan this. Lugo knows what he needs to do. And I think you give a veteran starter that has that track record that kind of leash, but they can't do it again because your percentages and your percent chance to make playoffs are already low enough. He goes out and throws another clunker, 4 1/3, 5 runs given up, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts. Like, you're going to lose that game, and you're going to lose even more ground, and it's late early already on September 1st.
And not only that, you're still only 3 games back, right? You're not really picking up any ground. You got it to 2, but now the Rangers have actually passed Kansas City.
Yeah.
They're a half game up on the Royals, although I believe the Royals have the
Royals have that
tiebreaker.
tiebreaker. So. They won, 6-7 or something like that?
But still, important to note that now the Rangers are a half game ahead of the Royals as they've won 5 straight games. The Rangers 8 of their last 10. I was a little surprised that maybe after the Lugo start, do one of those phantom IL stints, give him the 10 days, call up Stephen Kolek, so then you have him up there to pick up that day. Obviously, Stephen's now down back in AAA, Luinder Avila.
And he can't come up until like mid-September because of the 15-day.
Is that okay?
Yeah. I think that still applies.
Okay. So then that wouldn't have really been a difference. So
no.
I did like what I saw from Stephen Kolek. Let's go there. Stephen Kolek, what did you see? People were split. Some like Kolek, some really like Ryan Berger. Jason and I were Team Burgert. But what did you see from Stephen Kolak in that one spot start in Noah Cameron's place?
No, I thought he commanded the ball really well. And that was the one thing that he really had not done a ton of in Omaha. And so this is, again, where you got to take some AAA stats with a grain of salt because the offensive environment is just so bonkers that I don't know what to take away from a lot of the pitching side. It's why, like, some of the Ben Kudrna stuff, I'm like, man, I don't know. How much you can really take away. But, he didn't get a ton of swing and miss, but being a primary sinker slider guy, he's not going to be he's not going to get a ton of swing and miss. He's got like a 60% ground ball rate. That's going to be his calling card. So I think he's probably more of a reliever than a starter in kind of the John Schreiber sort of role. And maybe the velo ticks up a little more and he can be that heavy ground ball guy. But he showed in a pinch, man, he can get outs. And he got a fair amount of called strikes with his fastball. It was impressive for his first start in Kansas City after really struggling in AAA, and they didn't call him up. I was like, I don't know if this is maybe the guy that I thought they were going to get, but this is where I think you implicitly just need to trust Brian Sweeney and Zach Bove to just make a hell of a game plan for a guy and maximize what they're able to do.
I guess for me, I do wonder if he's actually better as a starter than a reliever. I don't want to go against that of what you were saying, but in 2024. Now, again, still a young dude, young-ish guy.
Yeah, he was a little bit late bloomer-ish. He didn't make his debut until he was 25, I think.
He's 28 now.
Yeah, 26.
But in 24, as a reliever in 42 games, had a 5.2 ERA. In 25 this year, in 15 starts, he has a 3.99 ERA.
Interesting.
I just wonder, and the strikeout numbers, slightly more, but it still is not like it was 39 strikeouts in 46 innings this year. It's 59 and 85, but I don't know if it's because he pitches more to contact.
He's definitely a more pitch to contact guy.
And as a reliever, he was trying to do too much. Who knows? Maybe in a different organization here in KC, he can become that Schreiber-esque type because I can see that. But as a starter, he has been better. And obviously, he'll tell you one start in Kansas City, but 15 starts overall, a 3.99. You'll take that for your 5 starter on a major league team.
Oh, yeah. I mean, no, I think he fits more into like that back of the rotation, Michael Lorenzen type, like two times through and out kind of guy. But certainly, I mean, the early returns from this are great. And I said it after, I think it was last Sunday after Ryan Bergert's last start against the White Sox, that teams are probably going to stop trading with Kansas City for young, controllable starting pitching, given what they've done the last 3 deadlines, getting Cole Reagans, Lucas Erceg, Ryan Bergert, and Stephen Kolek. Like, teams are going to, like, JJ's going to get on the phone and say, hey, we like your young starting pitcher. Who do you want for it? Like, no, hang up the phone. Like, it's not necessarily don't trade with the Rays level of hang up the phone, but it's getting into that conversation, I think.
I get that's a good overarching conversation to have is how impressive have the Royals been at identifying and developing and trading for, because a lot of these guys, like Stephen Kolak, was not a guy that was necessarily highly touted. Ryan Bergert's number 7 in the Royals system now in the pipeline.
Right.
That's fairly high. Cole Reagans had some potential, but he had obviously a litany of injuries and a whole bunch of inconsistencies. I go back to even Aroldis Chapman. I still stand by the Royals fixed Aroldis Chapman.
And think about what he's doing right now. I mean, he's been nuts for Boston.
One of the best pitchers in baseball, which was a funny conversation how he told he just learned to aim the ball this year. He never thought about aiming. He would just throw. Apparently Connor Wong in spring training this year was like, hey, have you thought about like maybe trying to hit this spot? And he's like, oh, I've only tried to throw it basically over the middle of the plate and just let whatever happens happen.
When you throw 102, you can do that.
So that's Aroldis Chapman at age 37, whatever it is has learned how to pitch, which is
one
nuts.
of the most underrated relievers in baseball history.
Yes.
When you think about just the track record, the amount of saves, the amount of innings, and the ability to still throw 100, 102 at 37 years old. Sneaky, one of the most durable pitchers ever, too, given the velocity.
It's very Nolan Ryan reliever-esque.
It's insane, yeah.
But again, just going back to the overarching Bove, Sweeney, and Piccolo to an extent now, how have they been able to do this with such a quick turnaround? Because it went from they can't draft, they can't identify. If you come to KC and you're a pitcher, you want to go somewhere else because then you might be able to take off, right? And now you look at this, and it's an entirely different situation.
Yeah, this was a organizational change after the 22 season, bringing in Matt Cotrero, but then he goes and gets Brian Sweeney, and they add in Zach Bove as well. They change up a lot on the pitching side. Paul Gibson was there with the Dayton Moore era, but he stays, and they revamped everything. And some of this as well, I think, is some of the ownership of John Sherman as well. He came from Cleveland. What has Cleveland been forever? A pitching factory.
Yeah.
So when you invest in that, it changes so much, and it raises your floor quite a bit as an organization as you kind of try and fit the offensive pieces together. But obviously what they're doing at the major league level is one thing, but you now have legitimate big league starters in your minor league system right now as well, which is not something we've seen in Kansas City for a long time. 2 years ago, I was like, hey, Noah Cameron's a good story, local kid, maybe he makes it, that's awesome. And even coming into the year, I'm like, yeah, I think he'll get a chance. I don't know how good it's going to be. And then he's been one of the best rookie starters in Major League Baseball this year. You still have Ben Kudrna now in AAA, and he's looked much better. Looks like he's revamped a couple of things in his arsenal to be really good. David Shields and Kendry Churio, I know they're 17 and 18 years old. Those two dudes are big league starters in the making a few years down the road. Drew Beam is a solid mid-rotation guy. Steven Zobak, same thing.
Yeah.
Felix Arande in high A has been great for most of this year. Like, they have found a way to identify these guys, but not just identifying them and maximizing what they have at the age and development path that they're at. I mean, it's incredibly impressive the way this organization has just turned on a dime from where it was a couple of years ago when it felt like any pitcher they draft, anybody that they bring in, it's just not going to be good enough. And now, I mean, they bring in a pitcher. Okay, cool. How good are they going to be really quickly? And it's changed a lot.
Starting pitching is the currency of Major League Baseball, and it looks like the Royals are flush with it. They are, to me, in a position where you can now start trading starting pitching and try to get bats for the offense, because that seemingly is going to have to happen sooner rather than later. Now it looks like they did some good moves at the deadline. Obviously, we've seen what Yaz has done, Adam Frazier, but at least more cost-controlled bats. It does seem like you might, and now when you have this many pitchers, feels like you have the ability to go out and do something along those lines. Let's take a break. Let's come back, Joel. I want to talk about Tyler Tolbert. I want to talk about Q just in general this year. Has he overthought some decisions, where the Royals stand as there's how many games left now in the regular season? Less than 30. A little more Joel Pinfield on the other side of the zone. Sports Radio 810 WHB. Welcome to the Zone, Sports Radio 810, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Joel Penfield. Talked about it again, the big news. Carter Jensen, Jack Caglione, Luinder Avila called up. Jonathan India placed on the 10-day IL. Let's start with what we said we were going to go into break. Let's actually do it. A lot of times I say that and then I forget. Tyler Tolbert over Isbell last night. I get what Q wanted to do. But this was a microcosm, in my opinion, of classic overthinking. Nick, I get it. I get that Tariq Skubal is best pitcher in baseball. One of the best pitchers in baseball.
I think it's him, but yeah, there's other dudes in the conversation, but he's 1A.
So I get it. You want to stack it with right-handed bats. You want to see what you can do. But the point I'm trying to make here is, if you know that every single run is going to be paramount because you know you're not going to score much off him, wouldn't you then want Isbell in center field over a guy who's basically a second baseman playing center field? Wouldn't you want the best defense possible if you think it's going to be a 2-1 game? That's my thought. That's my opinion. And I get it. It doesn't help when Vinny, yet again, we'll talk about some of the struggles he's had with the runner on third less than 2 outs recently. But when you go and have the bottom of your lineup as Lofton, Luke Maile, Michael Massey, and then Tyler Tolbert, the Massey one we understand now because of the injury, right?
Correct.
So that was a little confusing of, okay, you went all righties and then you threw a lefty in for what reason? Again, to me, Tyler Tolbert, I do think, can be a better batter against lefties than Kyle is. I'm not going to disagree that. I know the numbers aren't glowing on either side against lefties for Tyler or Kyle. Tolbert has had better swings against lefties, in my opinion, consistently this year.
Yes.
But Kyle Isbell, I think, has held his own to an extent, mostly against righties. Lefties, he has struggled. But if you do think every single run is going to matter and mean that much, you got to have your best center fielder out there against Tariq Skubal. That's your number 9 hitter. What do you care more about for your number 9 hitter? Defense? Or maybe, just maybe, he could get a hit.
Yeah, I was very unbothered by it for the most part because I just try not to complain about lineup construction because I think it's just the lowest common denominator of fandom sometimes. Because how often have we seen the lineups people complain about the most that end up going out scoring runs and winning games?
Occasionally.
It's just kind of is what it is. When you look at it from the offensive perspective, totally understand the process of what they were trying to do. Like, stack as many righties as you can, see if you can take your shot against him, and then as they go to the bullpen in the late innings, then you still have Yaz, you still have Frazier that can come off the bench, you still have Isbell and come off the bench, and then that's where you can kind of stack the other side of the platoon and see if you can maximize it against some of the right-handed relievers that the Tigers run out there. From that perspective, I understand, and that was what my initial take was when I saw the lineup yesterday afternoon. From the defensive perspective, totally agree with your point. It doesn't really matter who you're going to throw out there against Tariq Skubal. He's going to shove it up your you-know-what for 7, 8 innings. It's just what he does. So at that point, you might as well just see, hey, maybe Massey gets on in front of him and Isbell can bunt and move the runner to second, get back to the top of the order with Michael and Bobby. And you know what Kyle Isbell is going to do defensively. He's one of the better defensive center fielders in the league. So that's where you need to maximize that. So I understand what they were trying to accomplish, even though I don't necessarily agree with the defensive side of the platoon in that regard.
Yeah, that's where I have my issues. So the Royals fall 3 games back. Rangers are now a half game ahead of them, although the Royals are the tiebreaker over them. Where do you give the Royals' chances of making the playoffs? Because there's how many games left there? If they've played 137, that is 25 games left.
Yep.
25 games left, down 3. Where do you put them? Not what the numbers say. Where do you put them?
Man, like I want to look at the playoff odds just so I can kind of gauge where Fangraphs thinks they're at. They have it at 11% to make the playoffs. I'd probably have it around there. And I know that's a bit of a cop-out answer, but in my head I was thinking around 15% before I looked it up. I mean, it's just tough. Like they not only do they have to go and rip off a crazy run that we really haven't seen them do since mid-May, and you also need one of the Mariners, the Rangers, the Yankees, the Red Sox to just fall off a cliff. So they don't control their own. Like this time last year, they were in a wild card spot, so they controlled their own destiny for the last month of the season. They don't anymore. They have to. Not only do they have to play well, they need someone else to play poorly.
Well, they do have 3 games against Seattle.
That is going to be the biggest series of the year.
Yes,
right there.
They have 6 games total against the Angels. They have 3 against the Athletics. They have 3 against Minnesota, 3 against Cleveland. But you do have the Philly series in Philly,
and you have the Blue Jays coming.
Blue Jays.
Yeah, that's going to be tough.
But overall, it does feel like the schedule is
100%. It falls in their favor.
A little lighter.
Yep.
You're always going to play good teams, but you do have an opportunity against Seattle later on in the season. You got to find ways. At least 2 out of 3, right? That's the one that I think we're all tabbing to if you're going to make the playoffs. Because then it gets light. Then you do have the Toronto one, right? You do have that 9-game stretch of at Philly, Seattle, Toronto. Toronto is at home. Seattle is at home. But then you have the Angels and A's to finish the year. Again, I'm not saying the Royals will make the playoffs, but they have a better opportunity than I think the 11% is giving them just because of the way the schedule shakes in their favor.
Yes, and that is fair. And I'm looking at the Mariners' schedule right now. So they are on an East Coast swing right now. 3 in Tampa, 3 in Atlanta. The way the Mariners have played on the road recently, they had an East Coast swing 2 weeks ago against the Phillies and the Mets, and they looked bad for most of that stretch. Then they're home for 6 against the Cardinals, or actually 7 with the Cardinals and the Angels. And then they're on the road again, Royals, and then at the Astros. So maybe that's a little bit of a look-ahead spot for Seattle with the division still kind of on the line between them and Houston. And then they're home for the last. They get the Rockies, so they get a little bit of a layup there. And then their final series of the year is against the Dodgers. Yeah. And that, again, division maybe still hanging in the balance. Still, who knows what they're going to be able to do. Their pitching staff has been hurt and inconsistent outside of Brian Wu. We'll see, but that is not an easy stretch for them. And the Royals definitely, it kind of tips the scales a little bit in their favor in that regard.
Yeah. I'll say 20%. I'll
Okay.
say 25. I'll give the Royals
a 1 and 4?
1 and 4. I believe. I'm hoping that Carter Jensen and Caglione can be a little bit of a boost, especially offensively, for this team.
And that's been something we've seen throughout baseball this year, is that a lot of these young, and now some of them have more prospect pedigree than Carter Jensen and Cags have. But we watched what Roman Anthony has done and like Marcelo Meyer, Peyton Tolley, the kid from TCU that came up and just shoved on
22 and looks 42.
Insane.
He looks like 1970s 22-year-olds.
Yes, absolutely. That looks like a guy that rips a couple heaters and has a Bud Heavy in his locker after the game.
Like, guaranteed.
Yes, absolutely. But they have come up and sparked the Red Sox. I mean, I thought they were dead after they traded Devers. Like, what is going on here? And they've been one of the better teams in the league this year. The Mets with Jonah Tong and Nolan McLean have revitalized them because they were treading water there for a little while, completely changed their pitching staff. And there's other examples of it too. Those are just the ones that come to mind. The bottom line is we've seen young dudes come up and are able to spark a lineup. And with the amount of the prodigious left-handed power that Jack Caglione provides, and probably the most underrated raw power in the minor leagues, and Carter Jensen. I mean, he was going toe-to-toe with Las Montes, who is one of the top prospects in the Mariners organization, like a baby Jordan type, and he was hitting balls further than him at the Futures game. Like, it impressed people that it really hadn't gotten scouts and people that covered the minor leagues that hadn't really gotten eyes on him and realized the type of power he can provide. And you add that into a lineup with Yaz at the top that is liable to go bridge at least once a week, and Vinny, who's turned himself into a solid power bat, the right-handed power that Bobby and Salvi provide. You got a 1 through 7, or you got 7 dudes in your lineup that you come up and you're like, this guy might hit a home run like right now.
Yeah.
And that is not something that we've seen from this team most of this year. But if those dudes get hot, in addition to what Bobby has been doing for a month plus now, what Vinny has been doing for the most part in the last 2 months, Salvi, a fresher Salvador Perez with Carter being able to catch, and a Luke Maile once a week, Yaz being able to just lead off games with home runs with any sort of regularity, which is not something I expected when they signed him. I mean, it could tip the scales, but I want to see it first before I believe it. But yes, are we coping? Are we hoping? Yes. But it's not out of the realm of possibility that those two dudes can have a serious impact in this last month.
I'd probably give it a 10% chance. I think it's so difficult because the Royals had that one stretch in May where it's like, okay, they look legit. But ever since then, they've been struggling. They've lost to teams they should have beaten. And my biggest fear is that I don't think they have that run in them. I think they've been an entertaining team to watch at times. And honestly, if you just go back to a couple years ago, this is the exact position that all Royals fans, the front office, the organization, they wanted a team that was competitive in September. They got that. Now, I don't know if they've got a playoff run in them because it almost seems like last year they had some things go their way. They hit a little bit better with runners in scoring position. They had that. I mean, June killed them. June really just killed their playoff chances.
Yep.
And if they do end up going on a run, I feel like that would be the outlier of this season.
I'm looking up right now. I'm trying to find where Vinny's at. I can find it with runners at third. I'm trying to see if I can find it with less than 2 outs. But it doesn't matter. His worst OPS is runners at first and third, but he's only had 13 at-bats there. Runner at third. Vinny's batting 250, 259, 417, OPS in 676. Runners on second and third, it's 864. I'm going somewhere with this. Runners on first and second, 984. Runner at first, 856 OPS. I think he's pressing.
I think he's because I do think there is a certain amount of trying to hit a sac fly.
Yes, I think he's trying to hit sac flies right now. And he was so good last year at doing that we just assumed Vinny less than 2 outs, that guy's getting in. And it's not been that this year, and he's been so good post All-Star break that I feel bad trying to pick on one aspect of his offensive game. I feel bad because I know he's the guy that takes this harder than anyone else, right? He's talked about it. But it does feel like Vinny is in his head when it comes to runner on third, less than 2 outs at this exact moment. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just the nature of it swinging back the other way. But it seems like he's pressing.
Do you want a spin zone take? So before I get to that.
What if I say no?
I'm going to give it to you whether you said yes. But now I was teeing you up to say, sure, Joel. Let's see what you got.
Sure, Joel. Let's see what you have.
Okay. So for some more context on like the high leverage and runners in scoring position stuff, because people are giving Vinny crap all year that he's just not the same guy that he was last year, but he's still fourth on the team in weighted runs created plus and strikeout percentage with runners on, and in high leverage situations, it's fourth and third. So he's still sure, he has not been the same guy he was last year. He's still very good, just for contextual part of this. I think he's trying not to hit sacrifice flies.
Oh.
Did you know that sacrifice flies count as a negative 100 weighted runs created plus outcome?
That's dumb.
It is. It's incredibly dumb.
But why does that matter? Why would he care?
He's going into arbitration next year.
Oh, no.
So let me hear me.
This is why you had the tinfoil you brought in. You made a hat, and now you're doing it.
Listen, he was great. That was part of what made him great with runners on last year. But it also, at certain points, probably tanked his weighted runs created plus because he had it was 108, and he was one of the most productive run producers in the league. This year, it's 112. Now, some of that is just he had such a bad first month that he's had to catch up because he's been around 130 or so for most of this season. But I do wonder if there's trying to just get a hit, because if he comes in, they're like, man, we know that you're a great run producer for us, but you have a 105 weighted runs created plus as a first baseman. We need more. It's something. This is not me trying to say that he is trying to do that, or that the organization is going to stick it to him in arbitration. But that's unfortunately what happens in a lot of these situations, and with dudes that are ARB eligible. I wonder.
I don't think he's trying to not hit sac flies over a case of a couple $100,000.
It's not. So I will say that it is not nothing.
I think that you are now overthinking. You're pulling a Q. You pulled the Tolbert over Isbell in center field last night.
Maybe.
There's no chance.
Maybe it's dumb, and it probably is. But then if people listen to my show, they know that I'm dumb. So
no, I like the thought, but this is a conspiracy theory of all conspiracy theories of baseball. But also, he thought the trash cans were dumb, and yet that happened. No, I think he's pressing because he's talked about a lot of runners on third, less than 2 outs, and how. What game was where he hit a 3-run home run? He was like 3 for 4,
and he had the sack fly, and he was more excited that he did that than hitting the homer.
More excited about the sack fly because he did that. So, I don't know. I think that he's just pressing at the plate. Again, it wouldn't have mattered.
And he's still been awesome through this. Like
he's been incredible.
that's kind of the irony of this, is that if we're talking about a guy that has not been that good, and he's been okay at the plate, but he's actually been one of the better hitters in this lineup for quite a while now. And that's just one thing that if he comes through a couple more times, I mean, who knows? But
I'm not taking a knock on Vinny. He's been
no,
really,
there's
really
no,
good.
that's not where we're going with this.
Before we take a break, can we please agree on no more Tyler Tolbert in center field?
Yes.
Please?
Yes.
Thank you. I can't do it anymore.
Honestly, I'd rather see them put Mike Hill out there than Tyler Tolbert.
I'm sorry, Tyler. I am. But even in his post-game comments, he talks about, well, it would have been an incredible play. It was hit very hard. The wind took it. I'm like, it would have been a hard play. I think Kyle Isbell makes that 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just the fact that he didn't make the play. Like, I can understand saying, yeah, it's a tough play. I'm probably not going to make it. Okay. But getting that confused and that lost.
That turned around on a ball was, that was
That's
tough.
something. Like, again, I'm not saying it was a routine play.
No, it was not, but you would hope for a better effort in that situation.
You would hope for a better outcome. Then you also had the one with the miscommunication later on. Again, I just don't think he's a good fielder, at least in the outfield. I don't.
No.
I think that people are, and maybe I don't want to say Q because they have more information than we do. Speed does not equal good defense.
No.
Dairon Blanco was not a good fielder.
No.
But he's fast, right?
I think everyone wants one of these speedy guys to be Gerard Dyson. That's just not who
correct.
it is.
And Gerard Dyson was fast, but was also good defensively.
Yes. Like my good buddy Alex Duvall has a take that Tyler Tolbert is in between Terrence Gore and Gerard Dyson. And I think that's like the perfect comp.
Fair. He's also not as fast as either of those two guys.
But he's still a very effective base runner, despite that.
He is. Again, to me, I think that people misconstrued speed for defense, especially in the outfield, and that is far from the truth. Alex Gordon was not fast.
Kyle Isbell's not necessarily a burner, but he sure covers ground in center field.
Kyle Isbell has the 59th percentile sprint speed, 98th percentile range, and outs above average. Tyler Tolbert is 83rd sprint speed. His range is -2. He's not qualified yet, so he's -2, which is not good in a limited action. So just throwing that out there. I'm not saying he doesn't have a role in the team. Just saying I don't need to see him in center field anymore. We'll take a break. We'll come back. More Royals talk on the other side. Finishing the hour with Joel Pinfield. The Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Welcome back to the Zone. Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Joel Penfield. One Royal Way podcast, talking some Royals with Joel. All right. Who is the odd man out now that you have Carter Jensen, Jack Caglione called up? I assume they're calling up to give him regular playing time.
I think you have to. I don't think you would call him up otherwise. Caglione specifically, Jensen maybe a little more situational.
Sure, but I still think
Against righties, Jensen's going to play most days.
and most of the time you're facing righties. Probably what is that?
Yes.
70% of the time, and
At least, yeah. Let me see.
ish.
Let me
The
see if
Angels. Yeah, look at the Angels. I had it pulled up, and I have it right here.
When I recorded last night, they didn't have problems.
They don't have any problems for the next 2 days. They don't have it until Kyle Hendricks on the September 4th, Thursday.
Okay. Well, that's odd.
So,
Well, he's for sure going to play on Thursday against Kyle Hendricks, who throws, 83 miles an hour at this point.
hey, but it's a nice 83 miles an hour, okay?
It's below hitting speed, so it might. Who knows? It might be difficult. It might go six
tricks
shut.
you up, yeah. All right, so who's the odd man out, though, in the majority of the time? Because Yaz has been hitting very well and right. Adam Frazier maybe going to take over the second base spot with India going
That's
on the
what I
IL.
would do.
Does that mean Massey, who got called
Massey,
back
Loft,
up?
and Grichuk are going to be kind of the odd guys out. Grichuk will still play against lefties, but I don't think we see him in the lineup against righties at all. But he'll still be a pinch hit guy. Lofton is going to be a bench bat, pinch hit, late situation, defensive change for a couple of guys. But I don't think you bring up Jack Caglione if you're not going to play him every day. I think it would be odd if he's riding the bench and is only coming in the game in situations. I think that would be kind of wild. Michael Massey has been better since coming off the injury list. Like, to his credit, I think he has looked better than he did at the beginning of the season. But I would still just ride the hot hand and have Adam Frazier playing second base. And I never thought I would say that when the Royals traded for him, but he's been great since coming back to Kansas City.
Yeah.
So I would just I'd rather have him in the lineup because I think it's a more steadying force. You kind of know what you're going to get with most of his at bats. Michael Massey's either going to hit a line drive to right field or he's going to swing at 3 pitches that are nowhere near the strike zone. So I don't know. It's like Schrodinger's cat. I don't know what he's going to do when he steps in the box.
Yeah.
And just at this point, I'd rather just have the steadiest guys you can, and there's no shot that you don't have Mike Yastrzemski in the lineup against righties.
Yeah, I think that's been apparent with how he's led games off. That right there is worth the trade itself. We had an interesting conversation with Jason. Obviously, he's gone today, so he can't defend himself here, but I'm actually saying something good about him. So, Jason, yeah, I'm saying something nice about you. He had an interesting take. I said interesting, I guess. Maybe it's not a good take. That's an interesting take about Yaz and an extension in Kansas City. Would you consider doing that even with his age?
100%. Because I don't think it would cost you a ton. And he's 35, so because he was a really late bloomer. He didn't make it to the big leagues until he was 28.
Yeah.
But I think a 1 for 12 or 1 for 13 with a mutual option for 27 and like a $3 million buyout, somewhere in that range. I mean, what he's done for this lineup has been significant, and he's a solid defender. He can run a little bit for his age. He's not a burner, but he's a good baseball runner, heady player. Clearly has had an impact on this lineup. I would do it when the Royals when they signed him when they traded for him. I'm like, okay, that's a good rental, to help you try and have a stretch run. And then over these last few weeks, since they moved to the leadoff spot, I'm like, maybe that would be a really good spot for him in 2026, and be that. You would still need to have the other side of the platoon for him as with a righty against lefties, but being a left-handed platoon against right-handed pitching as in the leadoff spot, I think it could actually be a really solid value add.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I had a little slight pushback. I want to see what he does the rest of the year before I had that conversation, just based on he was on a steep decline this year and the past couple prior to him coming to KC and getting revitalized, but I do think he's sitting here going, wow, Kansas City Kauffman, this is a hitter's park. Compared to the Bay out there in San Fran, that thing was difficult to get out.
Going
in right field.
poolside of McCovey Cove in March in like April and May sounds terrible.
Yeah, so he comes to KC in August, and then he's sitting here going, oh, this is great. It's easy. Home run ballpark, baby. Always fun talking with Joel Penfield of One Royal Way. The pod right there with KCSN. Joel, appreciate it. Thanks for coming in on your Labor Day.
Yeah,
Again,
absolutely.
it's Labor Day.
Absolutely. I'm not doing my day job, and this is way more fun. So I was
Right?
glad to be here for a full hour. Now let's see if Field Yates can one-up us on this power-packed hour that we've had.
He's going to come on in about 15-ish minutes. Just got a text from Field about 12:15. Joel, thank you. You're the man.
You got it.
Welcome back to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. We'll be joined by Field Yates in about 15-ish minutes, about 15 or so before Field joins. Before we bring him on, I want to hear some audio from Andy Reid. He spoke yesterday, and it's Andy just getting ready for, obviously, the trip to Brazil, the changes going down there. Again, you know my thoughts. I always find it hard to take much away from these massive travel overseas games. You heard from Trent McDuffie earlier on, never been on an 11-hour flight. So that's going to be an experience there as well. What do you do on an 11-hour flight?
Sleep.
I cannot sleep on planes.
You can't sleep on planes?
I don't like heights.
Okay.
I don't like being
heights
trapped
either.
in flying
air tubes.
So for 11 hours, I'm just sitting there like, are we there yet? You know what I do on planes? I check the flight tracker every
entire time?
3 minutes. Well, I watch The Office.
Okay.
I watch The Office, but I have to fly. Obviously the Super Bowl, just some stuff for work. Yeah, not a great flyer, but yet I do.
I'll tell you what, my girlfriend is not either. She has to look out the window the entire time. She panic attack, shakes, it's really bad. And for me, I could fall asleep on a 45-minute flight.
Yeah,
Just
good for you.
Close the eyes, I'm out.
I am jealous. All right, let's hear the audio from Andy Reid before we bring on Field Yates.
All right. As far as the injuries go today for practice, really Royals is the only one that won't practice. Everybody else will go. Look forward to the challenge of playing the Chargers. Again, they're a good football team. They're into that second year, so you know that they've got the offense, defense, and special teams down. Jim does a great job with that crew of getting them ready. They've got good players. They're well coached. So, their coordinators, Greg on offense, Jesse on defense, and Ryan on the special teams. They're all good coordinators, and so it should be a heck of a football game. Look forward to going to Brazil. That's going to be you don't get invited unless you've done all right in the past. So we feel honored to have an opportunity to go down there. Anyways, with that, time's yours.
Hey, Andy, we haven't seen Hollywood in a preseason game. I just wondered what your take is on him and his progress.
Yeah, so listen, I think he'll be okay. He's a veteran guy. If he's younger, I'd probably say he'd be a little bit more worried about it. But he's he's a veteran guy that kind of knows how to go about it, and I think he should be fine. And we've got guys that can rotate into, so it's not we mix and match kind of as we go.
Over the past year and change, have you seen Jim Harbaugh elevate what they're doing over there?
Yeah, I think he does a great job with really all the phases. And I know as you go here, he can even add more. So it's they've done a nice job. That's what I can tell you.
Andy, what concerns you most about the Chargers defense? I know they led the league last year in points.
Yeah, they're a zone team, but the zones are tight, and they have a bunch of different combinations. Plus, they can play man, and they do that well. But their zones they do a heck of a job with that. So you can see why they were ranked so high. And they're not going to. They're trying not to give up the big play, obviously, but at the same time be able to attack underneath. They've got good speed on the defense. And those front guys, 52, heck of a player. And that number 3 is not bad either. So they're good players for them.
Andy, over the years, especially the last couple of years, we had to travel to Germany and Brazil. Just what have you learned about just the organization process of getting everybody in line with making an international trip, knowing that just to get a long flight and taking care of everybody's bodies, make sure you're at top speed?
Yeah, I just look at the time of preparation that the people did, and they try to do it so it's not any problem with the players or coaches. They kind of keep us out of it, but the work that goes on behind the scenes there is crazy. You're moving up basically the whole crew to go down there for a couple days. It's one thing to go for a day to a game, let alone a couple days. So it's quite a challenge. And then you've got different medical staffs that you've got that aren't quite as familiar with what we're doing, and that whole part of it. You know, so it's an interesting process, but our guys have gotten pretty efficient with it over the years.
It's been a long time. You played these games. It's been mid-season when you go out to Germany and then Mexico City. Is there a difference being in the middle of the season as opposed to being at the beginning of the season?
I'd say if it was our first year, that might be a pretty big challenge, but having done it before, I think our people have a pretty good feel for it. I think the players, when it's all said and done, they just want to play. You know, they don't really care where it is. I'd probably tell you both teams feel that way. That's what I've noticed over the years.
It's been a long time since you've had any kind of regular schedule. We never see you guys play at noon on Sunday anymore, it seems like. So what have you done to kind of impress upon your team that we have to keep everything kind of going?
Yeah.
And how much of a challenge has that become?
Yeah, well, it's the head coach's responsibility to keep things as organized and on time for the guys, consistent as you possibly can for that. That's one of the jobs that I've got that I deal with. But it hasn't been a problem. These guys are so willing to do anything that you lay it out there and they go, okay, here we go. It's been pretty good. But depending on the stacked days in a row, as far as when you play 3 games in 10 days, something like that, the rest becomes, you got to give these guys some time to get themselves back, So.
Yeah, we talk to you regularly during camp, but big picture, what stood out about Patrick just over the course of the last 4 weeks?
Yeah, first of all, I thought he had a good camp all the way through. He's a great leader. He's continued on with that. Wants to know everything. Loves that part of it. Asks great questions. I like the way that he's got some guys back now for a second term, so he's familiar with them and trying to take that to another level for game, on game day. So I know that's one of his challenges right now with the crew that we have, and he feels comfortable with the guys, and so that's a good part. But he doesn't let anything really bother him. He's just full steam ahead with a positive attitude. That's the thing I appreciate the most. So I think he's even taken it up a notch this year, and he's really having a nice camp. You can see he's comfortable with the guys that he's playing with out there.
Last one, Pete. Not that he's, just to follow up on Patrick, not that he's not always good, but it seems like these isolated games, these primetime games, he really rises to the occasion. Have you noticed an excitement level that raises in him for something like this?
Yeah, he likes to play every game. I mean, he probably does. I don't know that. I know he gets up for every game. I mean, you play one of the high school teams, he'd be fired up. So he didn't care.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
All right, guys.
Andy Reid speaking right there. Going to have Field Yates on in one moment. I got chills. You know why? Looking forward to the challenge is back. Looking forward to the challenge of playing the Chargers. It's back, baby. I missed it. It doesn't hit the same in the preseason. The classic Andy looking forward to the challenge. That's when you know football season's back. That's when you know when Andy Reid says looking forward to the challenge of playing blank. That is when you know. Field Yates of ESPN joins us right now. Field, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me on. Sorry for I am actually going to flag myself for the first delay of game penalty for the 2025 NFL regular season there. I told Michael, your producer, before he came on, I would bore you guys with Labor Day travel snafus, but they're probably not interesting to anybody. So I'll just leave those there and say thanks for having me on the show today.
Appreciate you coming on. Hey, it's great to have you back for another season right here in Kansas City. Yeah, it's great. It's my favorite segment every single time. My favorite segment right here with Field. Are the Chiefs making a mistake, Field, not extending Trent McDuffie before this season? That's been the conversation here, at least today. Sounds like they're done talking contracts right now, at least for this upcoming season. We know what Sauce Gardner got, obviously Derek Stingley as well. Are they making a mistake not extending McDuffie before the season starts?
Ooh, man, I'm one of those that, sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't in terms of how you answer it. I think that the reality is it's a little bit of a different conversation compared to some of those corners who have a little more size, which that was one of the question marks surrounding Trent before he was drafted. It was just, is a guy with that body type going to be drafted super high in the first round? He ended up becoming a great value in the 20s for Kansas City. Is it a mistake? I don't know. It's hard to see. This team has kind of earned the benefit of the doubt. You always want to lock up good players. The question is just finding a number. I tell people all the time, and this bubbled up a lot with the Terry McLaurin, Trey Hendrickson situations, and even T.J. Watt prior to that, is it's not about whether the team would like to keep the player around. It's about finding the right number, and it's about finding the number that both sides can probably get to via middle ground, because it's rarely what one side sees and the other does not. So without knowing too much of the more specifics in terms of what McDuffie and his side wants and what the Chiefs have been offering, it's hard to say definitively, who's further from what I believe is sort of the expected mark. But there's some risk involved, because if he balls out, which he has already, and he reaches free agency, then, obviously he would get paid handsomely. It also means the Chiefs are probably going to end up having to use the franchise tag again, which is not bad because the Chiefs have shown an ability to lock players up on the franchise tag. That being said, it can stall your off season a little bit, right? Because you've got that number, the salary, the franchise tag number on your books for a very long time, as was the case with Trey Smith this past offseason, where it's great that they ended up getting a deal done, but until that deal was done, there was that $20-ish million number on the salary cap that you had no flexibility with.
I mean, I'll also point out, I feel like the franchise tag seems great in theory. We're talking about it, he still has the fifth-year option next year, McDuffie has, as well as the franchise tag, which is not horrible. But when we talk about this, how many players will play on that? A lot of times the last year of the contract, we saw with Trey Hendrickson. We saw Chris Jones sit out a game, obviously here just in Kansas City. So when you look at the franchise tag and that fifth-year option, at least the final year even of a contract, I know it seems great from a fan perspective. Look, they're under contract for 3 more years if you wanted to, but in reality, will they actually play on that? I think at times it's almost a little overblown.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, too, because it's some of the things that we attach ourselves to on the contracts might be different than the motivation of the various people involved, right? So if you're the Chiefs right now, I would imagine that the 3-year number, because, and that's my error, I'm not noting the 5th-year option for McDuffie. So he's got 2 more years of contract control, right? So typically what happens when you've got a player who's got 2 more years left of contract control is that the average annual value when the extension is announced, which, as we know in most cases, is revealed by the agent side and not the team side, is this number that looks gargantuan compared to maybe some of the prior deals that have been signed there. Derek Stingley, who, of course, same draft class as McDuffie and same position as Trent McDuffie, got a deal earlier this offseason that was 3 years and $90 million, and that's a $30 million average annual value. The player and the agent can win because that's the largest number for a corner up to that point. The team can point to it and say, all right, it's $90 million over 3 years, but we're more focused in on the 5 years and I believe $114 million that Stingley was scheduled to make prior to the extension. You do the math there, and that's like $22.5 or $23 million per season, which is a very, very good number for a player who, as is the case with McDuffie probably hasn't even hit his prime at a premium spot. So, motivations are always a little bit – when I say motivations, I think the motivation is to get a deal done. But how the deal gets done can certainly be influenced by who is involved. But I think ultimately the Chiefs' track record suggests they're going to find a way to get this deal done. And it's a very, 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 very good player who, on top of playing a premium position, is a homegrown talent that Brett Veach traded up for in the draft. Right? He went out there and he got Trent McDuffie. This is the kind of guy that it may not be a no-brainer, because if it were a no-brainer, the deal would already be done. It's a no-brainer for a desire to get a deal done. The contract is going to take a little bit of time to find that middle ground on.
Field Yates of ESPN is our guest. Where do you land on the Micah Parsons trade? Because I've had some thoughts of, I think Jerry Jones, what he has said has made this way worse than the actuality of the trade. I think people comparing it to the Luka Doncic trade in the NBA, I think they're far off. I don't love Jerry Jones, what almost felt like taking shots at Micah Parsons at the end right there. But when you look at the actual return of it, if you're not going to pay him that much money, I don't think it was a horrible return. To me, it was just more of the optics of it more than the trade itself.
That's everything you just said was actually way too level-headed to exist in football discourse. So I'm going to pretend like you didn't say it, because that's not allowed in 2025 football discussions. All right, so you're right. This is comparing it to the Luka trade is preposterous. Luka could have been if Luka had been traded to the Charlotte Hornets, I don't know if they'd become an overnight contender, but the path to contending within 2 to 3 years is pretty obvious. You build around this player, right? Love Micah Parsons. He's amazing. The Cowboys and Micah Parsons have not won anything of consequence together. I look at this as he is like the potential icing on the Green Bay Packers cake, right? So if there's a recent NBA deal that would be, I don't know, if you want to call Alex Caruso as the icing on the cake, that's probably not a fair way of describing it. Caruso.
Field Yates, Alex Caruso, Micah Parsons, they're the same.
Yeah, that's what I said right there, right? Yeah, I mean, Caruso not even close to the best, one of the, whatever you want to call Micah Parsons, 3 best non-quarterbacks in the NFL. So that's an unfair one, but you get what I'm going for in terms of icing on the cake, right? I think the Packers view Micah Parsons as that, which is why they're willing to part with a pair of first-round picks going forward for a team and a franchise that I would say, as much as any team in the NFL, has valued its picks for a long time. Listen, it's a fascinating deal, though. Here's what I'll say. Micah Parsons is amazing. People can say the salary cap is fake. $47 million per year is a lot of money. It's a whole lot of money. And it's a market resetting contract, right? I mean, we're going from, $41 million for T.J. Watt to $47 for Micah Parsons. He doesn't have to be great. He has to be by far the best defensive player in the NFL for that deal to really totally pay off for Green Bay as far as the dollar value is concerned. Now, that being said, if they win a Super Bowl with Micah Parsons over the next few years, no one's going to care whether it was $47 million per year, $57 million per year, whatever, $700 million per year, because that's the standard that they hold themselves to in Green Bay. So I thought, if you can isolate the trade from all of the theatrics that surrounded the trade, I think it's a reasonable deal. It's a reasonable deal, especially in the context of if they had started this process in March and just said, we don't think we're going to be able to get to the finish line with Micah Parsons, everybody makes your offer, then I think there's a chance they could have gotten a better deal done. This is a complete hypothetical, and I'm not suggesting that the team would have even done this, but like the Chicago Bears in March might have been a team, that had a top 10 pick, feels like it's good enough to compete right now, needed a premier player on defense. Maybe they would do that deal, right? Maybe they would say, we'll give you 10 and a player for Micah Parsons, which to me would be a better return than what I project to be probably, 25 and later in each of the next 2 drafts. So if they had gotten this process rolling 5 months ago, maybe it would have been a better return, but I can't blame the Cowboys for at least trying to go down the path of getting a deal done with Micah Parsons. Now, they should have had better foresight of where this was going to end. But the bottom line is that no matter how big of a Dallas Cowboys fan and supporter you are, you're probably feeling a bit snake bitten by this trade right now, because it's a really hard thing to draft a player with the kind of accolades and ability that Micah Parsons has, and it just stings really bad to see it go out the door.
Yeah, but look what we did, Field. We did nuance on a sports talk radio show. We brought nuance. That's tough.
I'm nervous for you guys. I'm nervous. I'm nervous that you guys, are we going to be able to do this anytime again soon? It's too pragmatic of talk to have on sports radio.
Will there be any nuance on this answer from you? Rank your fantasy football team on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best this year.
Well, here's the good news. I get the fence sit here. I've got so many more drafts. I've got 2 tonight. I've got another one tomorrow. I've got 2 on Thursday. 2 on Thursday, the day of the season opener, and 2 on Wednesday as well.
That's that's silly, Field. 2 on the day of the NFL season is absurd.
Well, I do it during the day, so this is the life we chose here, right? Maybe the life chose me, but yeah, we are rocking and rolling with a couple more on Thursday. So things never slow down. This is how it goes. Here's the problem with assigning. I'm going to give them all 10s. You know why? Because they all feel great. Now, are they all going to work out? No. But how many teams are going into this NFL season right now saying, like, you know what? We're probably going to go 2-15. There might be 1 or 2 that ends up going, 2-15 or 3-14. But very few teams are going in with that mentality right now. There are a lot of teams in the AFC that think they're going to take down the Chiefs. Now, could one of them? Sure, one of them could, but 5 of them can't, right? So, like, the Texans and the Ravens and the Bills and the Bengals and the Broncos and the Chargers can't all upend the Chiefs. So, to become the AFC's, champion for this upcoming year. So I like to go in with expectations, understanding that, they may not all reach their maximum potential, but I like the squad so far.
Yeah. Field Yates of ESPN is our guest. 3 quick ones for you. I know you're having fun on your Labor Day. I do appreciate you taking time to, again, it's not non-Labor Day. It's Labor Day. We work. We're grinders.
Yeah, of course.
It's what we do. Surprise team in a good way this year in the NFL. 2 years prior, it was the Texans. Last year, it was the Commanders. Surprise team in a good year this year. Who's it going to be?
Man, I guess part of the reason why those guys are surprises is because we didn't really see them coming. So it's not, I'm acknowledging that this is a team that I think will compete and be pretty good. But if you told me they also went 7-10 this year, I wouldn't be surprised. But I'll go with Carolina. It's a division that I think is pretty pretty competable. Can I make that word up there? I think Tampa will win that division, but I think Carolina will be good. I think they'll be friskier on defense than they were last year. And, you guys have recalled this team in recent years, right? Like, they battle it out. That much is for sure. Does Carolina. Bryce Young really, really got his confidence going in the second half of last season. They ended up losing some games against, the Chiefs and Eagles last year, right? Late in the season. It's like, oh, my, was that 2 years ago for Kansas City or was that last season?
That was last year.
I'm blank. Yeah, it was last year. I think it might have been like back-to-back against Kansas City and Philadelphia where, like, they lost the 2 games, like, combined 4 points. I think there's some reasons to believe that team is heading in the right direction, and I think they added some useful pieces this offseason that should be able to compete right away.
Surprise team in a bad way this year.
I got to be honest with you guys, and the schedule is going to impact us a little bit. Little nervous about the Chargers. I know they have Jim Harbaugh, and obviously, he's kind of like a walking 10-win season. That being said, what I'm a little bit nervous about is just the offensive line and the injuries already piling up. So, there's a team that I think came into training camp with some interior offensive line question marks. Things got shaken up when obviously they lost Rashawn Slater, their starting left tackle, who they have a great replacement in Joe Alt, but that means they have to find a new right tackle. A little nervous there. Again, Miami's probably too chalky of an answer. So I guess I'll go with the Chargers, but I still think they're going to be really good. I just, if things start a little shaky, including this Friday night, I should say, down in Brazil, I won't be totally surprised.
I do find it a little hilarious. You said the Chargers and injuries, and I just assume that's just every single year. That's just what happens. It's just every year it's the Chargers and injuries. That's an intriguing one. I actually stayed in the AFC West for mine. I think the Broncos. I think the Broncos are being crowned a little early, and everyone thinks that they're taking that next step this season. The defense is outstanding, but offensively, I still think there's a lot of issues. If they get into any sort of a 25-plus point game where they got to score more than that, I don't know if I like the Broncos' chances. Again, though, that floor is going to be high with that defense. All right, we're doing it, Field. It's September 1st. The first game of the regular season has not transpired yet, only a couple days away. So prior to Game 1 of the NFL season, What is the Super Bowl matchup?
Oh, man. I believe I have to have my official pick in like the next 24 to 48 hours for ESPN. And I've been – everybody just like, can I pretend my phone goes out here for a second? I have been thinking Baltimore, Philadelphia, with the Ravens getting a Super Bowl. But I understand that would not be a very popular pick out there in Kansas City. I really view it as a three-team tier in the AFC. I think it's one of – if you gave me Baltimore, Kansas City, and Buffalo versus the field, I would go out on a very long limb and say I'll take one of those three teams. It's just, I guess part of me wonders if just, like, at some point historical seasons, which anytime you make the Super Bowl, it's one of the best seasons we've had in league history because – there's only been, 56 Super Bowls so far. So I think Baltimore feels like they're sort of primed for it. And Philadelphia, the AFC is just so much stronger than the NFC. But KC, Buffalo going to be right there as well. But I'm going Baltimore over Philadelphia.
Okay. Man, it hurts.
Am I allowed back next week or no?
We'll allow you back. We'll allow you. Jason didn't hear it, so he'll make sure that you're allowed back next week. Field Yates of ESPN. Field, enjoy the rest of your Labor Day. Really appreciate it. Talk next week.
Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate having me on.
We'll take a break right here. Man, that was painful. Darcy, that was painful. I don't know how wrong he is. Although I will say, if he picked an AFC team, I would have rolled with the Bills. I just don't trust Lamar in the playoffs, but maybe eventually they'll get over that hump. Right, because until you get over the hump, every team was like this. Andy Reid couldn't win a Super Bowl until he did. Lamar Jackson can't win a big playoff game, Josh Allen to an extent, until you do, right?
Yeah.
And so I do think there's a little bit of, I'm not saying I'm taking them, by the way. I'm still rolling with KC. But the point I'm trying to make here is you're always knocked for what you haven't done yet until you do it, and then all of a sudden, now you can be labeled as you're good in this situation. Now you have to play well in that situation, of course, but again, that's the one I always go back to is Andy Reid. I think us in Kansas City, we should have a different understanding for Bills, for Ravens fans when it comes to, they haven't done it, so they're never going to do it. Well, not so fast, friend, in the words of Lee Corso. Not so fast. I'm not going to say the word. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know what you're talking about.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
Andy Reid had that knock against him forever.
Well, I feel like that's why we can so confidently say that it's a three-team race in the AFC because we haven't seen Denver do it. We haven't seen anybody else emerge and even get to a conference championship game. And so until someone does it, you would be stupid to pick against the field. Now, I will say, Field Yates said that there's been 56 Super Bowls. Next year's going to be Super Bowl 60. So we've missed a couple between there. But, no, I think that it's a safe pick to say that Baltimore is going to go. I don't agree with it, but it's going to be one of the three teams that we've talked about for the past couple years.
Yeah. All right, let's take a break. Let's come back. Mick Schaefer joins us in the 1 o'clock. It was a lot of fun talking with Field. I like the insight on Micah Parsons as well as far as the nuance. See, we can have nuance on the sports radio show. We'll take a break, come back to Zone. Sports Radio 810 WHB. Welcome back to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. Shout out again to Field Yates. A lot of fun having him on. 2 fantasy football drafts still to go on Thursday. That is wild.
That sounds miserable.
He sounds in way too many leagues. That does not even sound
How many
fun.
leagues is too many leagues?
I think more than I think 3 is the max.
I can't handle 2.
I do 3. Yeah, I do 1 dynasty league, 1 league that I do like with some listeners and stuff, and then 1's my money league that I've done forever with my guys from fraternity back at Mizzou. It's 3 leagues. That is my max.
People get up into like the 8, 9, sometimes double digit.
How's that fun?
How is it fun?
I want to root for like the same guys. I know you're not probably supposed to, but I'll draft a lot of times, try to draft the same guys in like the same league or in different leagues so I can root for the same guys. Okay, maybe I lose and now both teams are ass after 3 weeks. I get it. Fine. Oh no, they won't be. Darcy, I promise you they won't be. We're so good. We're so good.
This might be a cardinal sin. If I'm in more than 1 league, depending on who I'm in the other league with, because we don't really do money leagues, I'm not even going to check. I'll just roll with it. I got other stuff going on. I'd rather watch the game.
No, you're the worst. You at least check. You at least have to get it going, or else then you're an auto dub every other week, and then you're going to change it the week that I play you, and you're going to piss me off, Darcy. We're not doing that.
So
people do that against me, and I hate it. They're like, this guy's not checked his team for 6 weeks. Oh, I'm playing me this week. This is the first time he's checked it in a month and a half.
Funny story. I'm in a fantasy league, and I did not attend the draft. I just auto-drafted, and I was like, okay, I probably got horrible players. I'm going to lose. And I think we're using Sleeper this year.
Yeah.
And I check like the percentage odds of my week 1 game. I'm like favored 55 to like 41 or something like that. And I'm like, I didn't even draft.
That makes no sense because
I did not draft.
Darcy, that's 96%.
Yeah, I don't know why. I should check that.
You lying to me?
No, I just don't think I'm good with math.
You're
Welcome to the club. Mistake.
Hey, when we say you're in the zone, we're not talking about math. That much we do know.
Can Jason do math?
Probably better than me. And according to you, I would say Jason Anderson is the best math guy on this show, which I don't know how much that's saying, but he's the math guy. You want history, random knowledge, music? I'm your guy.
So it's changed from I was up. I don't know what it was at one point because even when I said the 51 to 45, like that's not 100%, but now it's 51% that I win, 49% that he wins.
Oh man,
which is still way too high for me.
Tough. I thought this was interesting. I don't know if people care that much. I don't normally care that much about the Tyreek Hill saga in Miami, but I do find this interesting on a larger perspective. Because I think it, to an extent, ties in with Micah Parsons. Tyreek Hill is not among the Miami Dolphins captains. He had been a captain in Miami since he joined the team in 2022. This is the first year he had not been voted a captain, and they did it by teammates this year. Teammates were the ones that voted for the captains. Tyreek Hill, at the end of 2024, removed himself from the last game, hinted that he wanted to play elsewhere. He has apologized, but that cannot go over well in the locker room, and now we're seeing the repercussions of that. How much you want to put weight into him being a captain or not. The point, at least overarching, I'm trying to make here in Kansas City. Because, again, this was voted on by the players. Mike McDaniel said this team was much more unified, and the focus on these 6 guys were very clear. These were the resounding vote getters.
He's a butthole.
I'm just... And even, by the way, Tua Tagovailoa said out in July that he had work to do, Hill did, to regain trust of his teammates. I don't really care about a guy who's no longer in the Chiefs, but it's more or less to the point of this Chiefs team doesn't put up with me first guys, doesn't put up with a lot of the nonsense that I think other teams will. You're starting to hear the rumblings that Micah Parsons maybe wasn't the best locker room guy, right? You hear rumblings of that now. We don't know that for sure, right? Those are rumblings. Those are allegedly. But when you see this going on in Miami, yes, the Chiefs got it right with the draft picks that they received from the Tyreek Hill trade. That's first and foremost. But the guys on this team that they drafted not only made them better, it's good locker room guys. It's guys that Trent McDuffie is a locker room guy. He's not a me first guy. You even heard him talk today. It's all contracts behind him. He doesn't care. He's playing ball right now, right? It's fine. We'll talk about contracts next offseason. It's fine. I just find myself maybe more impressed with the Chiefs' method, their methodology of, yeah, you got to be a good football player first and foremost. You got to be good. We'll give second chances. We'll do this, but you can't be a bleep. You can't be a me-first guy. You got to still have the ultimate goal at the end, and that's hoisting the Lombardi.
Well, here's the thing. I think Tyreek Hill has always been this guy. I don't think that he just went to Miami and magically turned into this diva. I think he's been this the entire time in the NFL. Maybe not his first season, but I'm more impressed with the Chiefs' ability to keep guys quiet, because we've seen this where players that have played on the Chiefs will go somewhere else and they run their mouth, they talk a lot, and it's like the way the Chiefs are able to say, you know, whatever happens outside of this organization, we can't control that, but we can control the guys in this building. And I think the change from Tyreek Hill, who is, you never heard him say practically any of the stuff that's come out since he's gone to Miami. The fact that Chiefs were able to keep a lid on this guy for so long, that's the most impressive part.
It reminds you of, he goes to Miami, immediately gets a podcast. He's put in front of all the pressers, all that stuff, and said up here, it's Travis, it's Chris, it's Patrick, right? It's after Tyreek, it's then McDuffie, Nick Bolton. You know, Justin Reed was a guy who spoke a lot. Obviously, Tyrann Mathieu did as well on these pressers. The Chiefs put guys up that they know what they're getting. You don't always know what you're getting with Tyreek. That dude is a wild card.
You never know.
And so I guess for me, kind of to the Micah Parsons with some of the rumblings, I don't think it's to this extent necessarily. I don't think he's ever going to say, you know, trade me. He was all about Dallas. If you get the picks right, it'll work out, because the same thing happened here in Kansas City, and I think we always forget. Not all of us, but a lot of people forget. People were pissed. How could you trade Tyreek Hill? The reign is over. It's done. That's dumb. Yeah, but it wasn't. They don't got Brett Veach down there in Dallas.
No, they do not.
But they've done a decent job at times drafting. They drafted Micah Parsons. They drafted CeeDee Lamb, right? They've drafted guys. I just think, kind of back to talking with Field, nuance is necessary in these conversations. I'm not ready to blast the Cowboys. As much as I like making fun of the Cowboys, I love making fun of the Cowboys, Ohio State fans, Lakers fans, maybe they're Knicks fans now. I don't know, Boston fans. I don't know where they've jumped, because they're all the same fan base. Yankees fans, they're all one. I don't know if I can. I can make fun of Jerry Jones for what he has talked about, what he said, right? I can make fun of how he handled this, but I'm not going to make fun of the actual move itself, because I don't think it's the worst decision in the world. And this is kind of hand in hand with the Tyreek Hill in Miami. And then again now, Tyreek Hill not among Finn's captains. Voted on by the players.
That says a lot. And again, the guy, with how he ended last season and what he said in the locker room to the media, I don't know why you would vote that guy as a captain, because clearly it almost seems like he is a me-first guy and not a team-first guy. Now, to kind of get over to the Micah Parsons situation, I actually didn't hate the trade as much as everybody else did. To kind of, reiterate your point, they got draft capital and a guy that, is a solid player in Kenny Clark. And, yeah, it's obviously not Micah Parsons, and the whole Jerry Jones quote that we can use those picks to go draft another Micah Parsons, as dumb as that sounds, because you could have just paid the guy, the Cowboys were not going to win a Super Bowl this year. There was no chance. I'm not a believer in the Dallas Cowboys, And so trading Micah Parsons, even though it sucks and it stings for Cowboys fans because he was really the only marketable player on that defense, it is probably going to be something good for the future because, A, you're not tying all that salary cap up in him, but also if you trust your drafting, which there's a big difference in Kansas City's drafting process than Dallas's, but if you trust your drafting, you got 2 first-round picks, and you also don't have to pay the king's ransom of paying Micah Parsons.
And the Cowboys, basically in response, I wonder if this is Jerry Jones trying to prove a point of saying we're going to pay someone. Cowboys and Deron Bland agreed to a 4-year, $92 million extension. Again, I do wonder how much Jerry... That's timing, isn't it? That's Jerry saying, hey, no, we'll pay, guys. We're just not paying you.
Jerry was hurt over the entire situation. He made a business transaction personal, and I think that's where he ended up going wrong from the very beginning. If this didn't get personal, I think they probably would have found a way to pay Micah Parsons.
Mm-hmm.
But once you go personal, Jerry kind of got his feelings hurt. And when you're in charge down there, we've seen him make rash decisions when he's emotional.
That's why I'm so grateful and gracious for the Hunt family and the Chiefs organization and how it is run. Hands off, let Veach handle that. You know, Andy, Veach handles that. You have the chain of command. It works. How it's set up here in Kansas City is one of one, and you're seeing the results, especially in the long run. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Mick Schaefer joins us in the 1 o'clock hour. A lot of Chiefs talk coming your way. We'll also play a little learned funniest best as well. Maybe a little college football talk with Mick Schaefer as well. We'll take a break, come back to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sports Radio 810 WHB, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. Let's go through a couple teams here. Some surprise teams in the NFL. Some teams that we might think are disappointing in the grand scheme of things. There's a couple of odds that really stand out that seem drastically too high to me. The Patriots, their wins over under 8.5. That seems impossible.
People are really high on the Patriots, and it's just because of Vrabel.
Yeah, I feel like that's a little too quick. I think the Falcons at 7.5 is really low. I don't think they're like necessarily a playoff team, but that's a bad division. Their schedule is fairly easy. I think 7.5 is a little low. If I had to go with a surprise team this year, Field Yates went with Carolina, which I thought was intriguing. I do wonder about a team like Arizona. Can they put it together for a full year? Kyler Murray's always good for the first half of the season and then just falls off. That's been the moniker of the Cardinals for a while now, is good first half. They're surprising folk, and then they collapse. Can they put a full season together? I think the Cardinals are a team that might surprise. I think the Raiders are a team that might surprise, too.
Say.
Yeah, everyone keeps talking about the Broncos in the AFC West, and I like the over. The Raiders, again, tough schedule, AFC West. I get it. Their over-unders at 6.5 games. You got Max Crosby. You have now Geno Smith, so you have a legit quarterback. You have Pete Carroll. You have Ashton Genty. You have some receivers. You have Brock Bowers. I don't know, man. I think the Raiders of any team in the AFC are the team that's being talked about the least. And again, that schedule is not going to be the easiest when you play in the AFC West, but I don't think they're a good team. Like, I'm not saying they're going to win 11 games, but if you told me the Raiders ended up going 9-8 this year,
I believe it.
I'd buy it. If they're competing for that final wild card spot, I'm not saying they get it, but if they compete, I'd buy it. So I'm going with I've done decent the past few years in my predictions as far as the upset team. I had the Texans a couple years ago. I didn't have Washington last year. That one's on me. I'm going to go with the Raiders this year as my surprise team. What about you?
I think that's the correct pick because the Raiders, for the first time in a long time, actually have adults in the building.
Correct.
New quarterback, new coach, new running back. You've got Brock Bowers. Again, not expecting them to be a playoff team, but the total is so low. I do think they're going to exceed that.
I think the Chiefs wax them. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
But with that caveat in there, I don't think there's an issue with the Chiefs there, but the Broncos and Chargers maybe. Watch out. Watch out. Mick Schaefer coming up next. Welcome back to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Gruden Grinder himself, Mick Schaefer. Mick, welcome in on this dreary Labor Day. It's a good day to drive back from the lake, at least, right?
It is. I saw some friends today. They drove back yesterday because they're like, the weather's not great, so we came back a day early. But my buddies were out playing golf today.
Nice.
And I didn't have time to fit it in because we're working on Labor Day, which I don't count. That's not a big. That's not big. I think I work most Labor Days. I don't remember ever just intentionally taking them off.
Yeah.
And I get a floating holiday, I guess, out of it.
It kind of is a floating holiday. Then you can just take another day off.
That's right. Yeah,
later.
or a banked holiday, whichever one it is. Yeah, banked.
I like that. I like that.
I don't. You guys,
shirt.
You guys, you like this? Yeah. You know what this is? You youngsters.
I was gonna say that is that Michael or Mike Tyson's Punch Out?
It is. Yes. Yeah. And so it's all the guys, all the boxers you had to get through to get to Mike Tyson back in the day. There's
Little Mac,
Glass Joe. You were Little Mac when you were fighting. Great Tiger. Piston Honda, Soda Popinski was one of the first guys. He was easy.
I like the names. King Hippo.
King Hippo was up there. He was a tough one. You had to wait for him to raise his glove, and you'd punch him in the gut. Von Kaiser.
Oh yeah.
So it depended on which one. Sometimes someone there was a glimmer in their eye, and that's when you knew to punch.
Oh.
Or one of them had a jewel that would shine. And
Don Flamingo.
Don Flamenco. Yeah. It's a great shirt. You'll like this. This is I got 4 of these shirts. It's what my brother and my brother-in-law and my son are wearing in the Caldwell High School Alumni Golf Tournament later on this month.
Wow.
30-year reunion going back. We're wearing these on sand greens. What do you know about any of that, Sterling?
Sand greens and
sand greens and wearing Mike Tyson Punch-Out button-up shirts.
Shrink the game.
Shrink the game.
Shrink
you
the
hate
game.
it. You hate it.
No, that's great.
These won't be tucked in either.
Oh,
sit
tuck
on
it
that.
in at least.
Shut up.
At least tuck it in. That's all I'm asking for. I don't ask for much. Just tuck your dang
they,
shirt in.
They cut shirts now to where they're not supposed to be.
They don't look good, though. They don't look
They
good.
look great.
It's all about...
I guarantee you, if I went through your Instagram, I could find half a dozen pictures of you with your shirt untucked on the golf course.
Yeah,
I think you're exactly. Talking out both sides of your mouth.
Is it a bit? Maybe. Am I going to still stand by it? Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Good. Commit to it.
I'm committing. I'm committing. Look, see this ring? I can commit. Okay.
Well, we'll see. It's been a couple of years. That's it, right?
It's been
a year.
Less than a year,
Less than
11
a year.
months. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, you can always tell how good or bad my round's going based on is my shirt untucked, is my hat backwards.
That's a good call.
If it's untucked and hat backwards, things aren't going well.
Now with
things aren't going
now
well.
with the button down, we'll see how
maybe
many buttons.
how many are
Might
undone.
be go tarps
Yes,
off on hole
tarps
11
off,
for
yes.
for Mick Schaefer.
Yes.
Sand greens, right? You just rub some sand on it. It's like you're at the beach.
Yeah, I don't know if it's not beach sand because you mix in oil with it.
Well, and then you get
to harden it up.
Well, you get the oil. The oil does.
Yeah.
It gets your nice bronze on. So
That's
you
what
use
it
it
does,
as a bronzer for you.
You would hate that because it's work on the sand greens.
Yeah, I
because
don't want to.
You have to tamp it down. You have to drag it out to get a flat surface and make it as fast as possible. And then at the end, you got to take a rake. You have to rake the entire thing.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah, you got to take a spoon and get all the sand out of the hole. When you put the hole back in, it's a whole ordeal.
Why would I feel like just use grass at that point?
Well, there's no way to maintain it out there. We're not rich like Blue Valley North. Some people come from humble beginnings, right?
Oh, I'm a humble man, but
oh, are you really? Yeah.
Semi-humble. Yeah, not really. But the
You're
point
not humble.
the point remains.
If you brag about how humble you are, you're not humble.
Yeah, the sand greens. I'm so unhumble or non-humble. I'm not humble at all. See how humble I am? No, I just. You need someone else to do it, or someone in my group to do it.
Nobody working out there.
Well, no. Someone else in my
It's a 9-hole course it's in Oklahoma. It's on the border.
Someone else in my group can do it. That's what I'm saying. I just don't want to
do
do it.
You take turns, dummy.
Oh man,
sorry.
That's work.
Yeah,
it's work.
Yeah, exactly.
I go golf to not work.
Yeah, exactly. You went to Blue Valley North, Silver Spoon, right? Your work is what do you sit around and talk sports, and then what do you do? Some auctioneering.
Yeah.
Right? And then you sell some houses.
Yeah, slang homes, baby. Slang and homes.
How many of you slang this year?
We do about 40 a year. My mom and myself, we do about 40 a year.
She does like 39 of them?
Probably.
Yeah, exactly.
We work together,
Yeah.
Nick. I was busy right now. It's a good year. It's a good year. We weren't talking about surprise teams in the NFL. I talked about it with Field Yates. Michael and myself were talking about it before we went to break. Surprised him in a good way and a bad way. For a good way, he went with the Panthers. Panthers is what Field Yates went with.
I like that.
I went with the Raiders. I think the Raiders have been under-talked about, and I think they're a solid team. I think that people are forgetting that they have a legit adult now, and you know, Pete Carroll, he's very old, so they have a very old adult in Pete
Grandpa.
Carroll.
He's a father of adults.
Yeah.
He could almost be a grandpa of adults.
He now has a legit quarterback in Geno Smith. The Raiders do. They have Ashton Genty. They have Brock Bowers, Max Crosby. I think the Raiders, with their over-under at 6.5, seems very low. I get the AFC West. I get the Broncos and the Chargers and obviously the Chiefs. They're tough. I think the Broncos, to me, are being overrated.
You went AFC West both ways.
Yeah, I pretty much went AFC West both ways. I think the Broncos are a little overrated, while I think the Raiders are underrated right now.
Okay. I'm looking at power rankings here. I mean, if the Cowboys, I guess, are ranked 25th in this one, I could see them jumping back up and being that 12-win team they were for however many years in a row.
I'm with you. Their over-unders at 7.5, and that seems vastly too low.
I don't think that division is much outside of Philly, because my pick for the surprise low team, bad way, would be the Commanders.
Yeah.
I think they have a sophomore slump.
I've talked about that a
Little
lot as
hangover.
well. We said it with the Texans, and I think the Commanders do the same thing. They made all the right
Agreed.
moves. I don't think they're doing anything wrong, but I think people also forget that when you won the second year with the rookie quarterback or going into the second year, there's always going to be not always, but a lot of times, a little bit of a figuring out process. But now you have a tougher schedule. You no longer play that fourth place schedule. Now you have tougher teams. You looked at the Washington schedule this year. It's more difficult than last year. I do think the Cowboys aren't as bad as some people, and at least the odds makers are throwing them out to be. Normally, it's the Cowboys the opposite. Normally, they're vastly overrated.
Yeah.
The Eagles obviously are great, but I think the Giants are really bad. I think the Giants might be the worst team in football this year. I know it's the Saints, but I think the Giants are down there. They have a very tough schedule. The Giants do. Their over-under total is at 5.5. I would take that under.
Who do they play, I wonder? Is it the division? Do they play like the
they play the
NFC
West.
North?
They play
the AFC West. That doesn't help.
They play the NFC East. No, they
are the NFC East.
Yeah,
but
they play the AFC West, and then they play.
Is it the NFC North?
NFC North.
Oh my God! Two best divisions in football, right?
At Commanders, at Cowboys, versus Chiefs, versus Chargers.
Woof.
They're probably 0-4 to start the season.
Woof.
At the Saints,
tough rotation.
At the
NFC
Saints,
East.
but now your game's at the other team that's the bad team. I'll go with the Saints. Then you have the Eagles. Then at the Broncos. Then at the Eagles. Then Commanders. Or not Commanders. Then 49ers. Then at the Bears. Then the Packers. Then at Detroit. Then at New England. Then Commanders. Then Vikings. Then at the Raiders. Then Cowboys. That's like a 3-win team. The team's not good to begin with.
That was the Giants schedule.
That's the Giants schedule.
Remember that year? It was only a few years ago when I think the winner of the NFC East went 6-10. It might have been the Commanders that year, or their football team, or whatever. I think you have something similar outside of the Eagles, like the second place. It's like 5-12 or something like that.
No, I think the Commanders will be.
I guess why I picked the Cowboys. They'd be better than that.
Yeah.
But
I do find that schedule hilarious. I didn't realize how hard it was. Pac-Man Jones. I was talking with Pac-Man, and he was like, we're talking like the Saints. He goes, no, look at the Giants schedule. That team might be the worst team. They might win 3 games tops. We went through the schedule. I go, you were not wrong. Pac-Man, smart, astute observation from him, which is what you expect from him, right?
Nothing less.
Nothing less than that. So I don't know. The Giants schedule is brutal. So I also would take the under on that one. Let's talk a little college football, Mick. Do we need to revamp our preseason predictions? Because I think I need to revamp mine.
I don't. Remember?
Yeah, you were.
I had K-State losing Iowa State, and I had K-State losing to Army. Which, if that happens now, that's worse than a North Dakota loss. In that Army just lost to Tarleton State.
Yeah, thank you. That one killed my. I threw it in because I wanted plus money. I had Mizzou with the points in Army.
Yeah,
I thought, oh yeah, that'll be easy. They're not going to lose to Tarleton State, who, by the way, I learned
in Texas
that Tarleton State had a football team.
I've known about them.
Wait, did B.J. Thompson go to Tarleton State, maybe?
I've known about them. But they're FCS.
Oh, Stephen F. Austin.
They are FCS, and that was bad. But, I mean, K-State's got to shore some stuff up on both sides of the ball to make sure you get that win against Army, which is always going to be a different team, a different style, different offense, smaller dudes. And so, yeah, no, my predictions are working out just fine.
Yeah, mine don't seem
just
very,
because of the K-State.
K-State one, I had 10 and 2,
Yeah.
and that's not looking. And I even said I'm most confident about K-State this year of any of these.
I
three.
think I'm at 8-4 for all three. Although
or 7-5
Mizzou,
or 9-3. You kind of had some caveats. You said 6-6 to.
He changed that after when I afterward I said no, maybe KU loses to Iowa State. I'll go back and say KU they get that win against Iowa State.
All right.
So 8-4 for all three is what I said. The Tigers and the Jayhawks, granted, not much of a sample size because you've got 2 wins over FCS schools and 1 over a group of 5. But they've looked apart. There's been no sweat whatsoever. You've been able for KU, speaking of losing bets, I mean, they are pulling quarterbacks with 12 minutes left to go in the third quarter. I'm like, come on, we got to cover 45.5 here, which didn't happen. But they've been able to play 3 quarterbacks both games. Prbula looked great. It really sucks about Sam Horn's injury.
Yeah.
And hopefully he can get back to where you can have someone behind him besides, I think it's the freshman, right? Would be the third
Zollers,
guy.
yeah.
But Prbula looked the part. It's fun to watch. He can motor. He's likes to throw the deep ball as a parent by his first pass. And looks like one of those fun players. And so I'm excited about him. Like the defense, obviously. Again, small sample size, but I think there's 2 good teams. I think there are potentially 2 top 25 teams playing Saturday in Columbia.
Yeah, I would agree. Mizzou could be on the cusp of being ranked, and it might come at the cost of K-State, actually. Missouri was ranked fairly highly, and what was one of the polls? They were 28th.
26 in one, I want to say, and then 29 or 30 in the other. Yeah.
But I was impressed with Missouri. I'm not trying to come at from a homer's perspective, but I was questioning how Bo Prbula would look in his first real action. I mean, he was a backup at Penn State behind Drew Aller, and now he's a starter. A lot of pressure on an SEC team, right? I mean, I think there is pressure there. It's horrible what happened to Sam Horn, but after Bo's game, I think, I hate saying it, but I don't think Sam Horn could have done anything that would have changed Bo being the starter going forward.
Yeah, I think that was going to be, whoever started that game was going to be the starter, and maybe you're doing a little gamesmanship heading into the KU game of okay, they're going to have to prepare some for Sam Horn here, even though we're going to start Prbula. But I did like it. It appeared like at least the wrinkle of Sam Horn having that option.
Yeah.
They bring him in, run some Wildcat for a possession or a series or whatever.
Which is funny because
that's taken away for a while.
Which is funny because he's the better arm talent.
You think so?
Speaking.
Yeah.
Bo's the better
pitcher,
runner.
Yeah. But you bring in that backup and just something different and something to take up an hour or 2 of prep time during the week for opponents. Believe me, that means a lot. And so, have we seen a timetable on him yet? Is that out? I know Drink talks on Tuesday.
Yeah,
I think.
I'm assuming. I'm assuming the worst for him and Blake Craig, the kicker. I'm just assuming that Dunzo.
And I think that's a factor too, in that and
huge factor.
And
I mean,
Jason
Blake Craig
brought up last night on Sound Off, and not okay, Missouri the last couple of years, you get to the 35-yard line, you basically have 3 points in the bag.
Yeah.
With that leg, taking that away, I think factors in a close game. What are they getting? They're giving 7 points or something like that to KU. So I look for it to be a competitive game. I feel like Missouri has a better team, but I meant it's close enough, and it's a rivalry game that I could see anything happen in that one.
So the point I was making in the first hour in this is a lose-lose for Missouri, where if you win, you're supposed to beat a Big 12 team. But if you lose...
Not every Big 12 team.
No, but I think Kansas. But if you lose...
I wouldn't call it lose-lose. I mean, you're going to be celebrating. That's a
no,
good team.
No, me, I would tell... No,
yeah.
The point I'm making is the optics of it. Because I think KU's a good team. I think KU is a damn good football team. they have a veteran in Jalen Daniels as their quarterback, right? That makes me nervous in a one-score game, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
The guy who's the veteran
all,
or a guy who's...
all the quarterbacks, Jalen's looked good. Avery Johnson, there's some issues there, but, he's 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, and throwing for yardage, and now had some chances to put that game away Saturday and took to the final one to finally come back and win. And then Purbuell, all 3 signal callers have looked good so far.
I guess the point I was trying to make is it's almost like in basketball. For Kansas last year, if they beat Mizzou, you're supposed to beat Mizzou. You lose, it's, oh my gosh, how do you lose?
Yeah.
And that was at least in Columbia. I kind of think the same thing here with Missouri. I'm so glad it's back. The border war is awesome. I like calling it the border war. By the way, the showdown is lame.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come
border
on.
war.
It's
Come
the
on.
border war.
Stop being soft.
But
Call
to
what it
your
is. It's just a
point,
word.
Kansas has everything to gain and really nothing to lose, when Missouri,
I think,
has way more to lose because it is football, and you guys are expected to beat us.
I don't think, though, that, the gap is there that's there in basketball, even with a down Kansas team. I don't think the gap's that far off between these two programs to where, like, whoever wins is going to celebrate. And if it is Missouri and they eke one out, right, against KU, I think the rivalry game aspect and the fact that it's been back and it's back for the first time in 14 years, I think that exultation carries over and overshadows any sort of, like, well, you're better than, beating this team by 1 point. I don't think it'll lose. I think it's a win-lose. I think you can celebrate it, and I think you should if you're Mizzou and you win, because you got some dogs coming in. You got some fellas coming up, some big games with the SEC, to where, like, let's take every win we can get, because, like I said, I think they're 2 top 25 caliber teams.
I agree. How do you think it shakes down? I know you talked about Mizzou winning. Obviously, I think playing in Columbia is a big factor. Would have been fun at Arrowhead for the first time.
Yeah.
Honestly, they could have done it with Chiefs being in Brazil.
Yeah.
Could have actually made that
been nice.
happen. But how do you see it breaking it? Because, again, I told you my concern is if it's a close game late, I tend to find myself going with the veteran quarterback in Jalen Daniels. I think Mizzou wins, but that if it is a late
both
game,
quarterbacks were like 24, right, or something like that.
But he has a lot more in-game.
No, I think Purbuell's only like 22.
But Bo's also, by the way, this hasn't started. This was his first start. He's been behind Drew Aller.
Yeah. Daniels definitely has the experience. And I like Mizzou's defense more, although KU's looked great defensively. They've given up 2 touchdowns on fluky type plays. Otherwise, it would have been 2 shutouts so far. It's just the sample size, and I don't know how to compare things. I really liked what I saw from Ahmad Hardy as well. But, Highshaw's a guy for KU that's played in some big games and is capable. So I could honestly, I feel like Mizzou has the better team, but I think it could go either way. If I would actually, if it's 7 points, I would take KU to cover that, would be my bet. If Mizzou fans take solace in that, I lose most of my bets.
Okay,
so,
good.
Yes.
Good. That's actually, it makes me feel
just cover,
more
not necessarily
comfortable.
win.
Yeah. Where does K-State go from here? How do they bounce back? Because I talked about in the first, Iowa State had the same trip, long travel.
Played a team from the same league,
just a different Dakota,
which they're all,
solid,
all good,
all solid.
Yeah,
but was it 55-7?
Hammered them.
And again, I understand. I'm someone who's. I think the travel and the variables and the differences of what your normal schedule looks like plays a factor. Like I do like the Chiefs going to Brazil. Both teams have to do it, obviously. Not denying that, but I think it's a bigger factor than maybe people realize. McDuffie talked about an 11-hour plane ride.
Yeah,
like that's difficult. But I'm sitting here going, you lose to Iowa State and you played bad. All right, field, first game of the year, different setup than you're traditionally used to, but you come back. Iowa State wins 55-7 against, again, same conference, same echelon of team. You have to come back from behind to win 38-35. Wouldn't you have thought week 1 was the wake-up call? Yeah. Do you need the FCS team to be the wake-up call? Where does K-State and what does their outlook look like for the rest of the year?
Listen, K-State was up 10 in the fourth quarter and had 3 straight possessions of punt downs.
Yeah.
right? The chance, all 3 times, chance to put it away. I don't think what resulted, what was a 3 and out, and I think 6 plays and out. And those 3 possessions, I don't think a long plane ride a week before that had anything to do with that whatsoever.
Yeah.
I think there are issues there offensively. I would lean on Avery Johnson's strengths and stop trying to make him something he's not. He had, I think, 8 carries in the Iowa State game in that soggy mess. I would have thought that would have been the game plan. Get him 16, 18 carries. I mean, let him run the ball.
Sure.
Because throwing the ball is hard for even efficient quarterbacks throwing the football. And I think he had 7 carries in the game against North Dakota. And I get it. He's slight of build. He's your quarterback. You don't want him to get injured. You increase that more. But, is that risk worth losing a football game, which is something that almost happened the other night to an FCS team. So I would lean on his strength more. And then Kleiman said the biggest issue with them is defensive play.
Yeah.
And he talked about their eyes and all the reads they're making wrong. They're looking at the wrong thing. They're getting caught with the eye candy in the backfield, the motion, and all that stuff, and the shifts, instead of looking at their keys and reading and reacting the right way. So hopefully that's the fix. If you're a K-State fan, I think that's an easy fix. If so, but yeah, they have laid 2 eggs so far and are fortunate to be 1-1.
Yeah, call them a hen, huh? Kansas City hens.
Yeah, K-State hens. So
that was a bad joke. Jason's gone, so someone had to do a random. Someone had to. It's the curse of sitting in this chair.
It makes you do it.
It makes you do it.
Makes you do it. But yeah, we'll see. The Army was the game I was worried about
in
this. Coming home, those 2 games obviously, and not North Dakota. And so now nothing. And Kleiman had a great soundbite afterward. He's like, these guys need to realize nothing is given to you. Nothing at all in this game, especially now with the portal. We have no idea how good all these other teams are, what they're like. It's right. You roll it out on the field, and then you start to learn. You cannot take anything for granted. That includes FCS teams, and that includes Army.
Well, what's interesting is, especially if those teams, those FCS teams, or the bottom end of the FBS, if they're now having 4-year starters, guys that stick around, so they have that continuity instead of
a lot of times they'll have the more continuity than you. Yeah. So you might have more talent.
I do kind of wonder. We'll see in college basketball too as it goes forward. I think in basketball it also plays a huge factor of the continuity of these teams from smaller conferences that maybe didn't get the love, but they have the guys who've played together for 4 years versus the transfers and the guns for hire. I'm intrigued by this now. This might be even a better news for college sports. I mean, we're seeing Alabama. They lose Saban, and DeBoer looks brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see how teams can change just like that. I mean, hell, look at Kansas is the perfect example of this.
Perfect example. I've always thought that college sports, coaching matters more in college sports, I think, than any other level.
Agreed.
In high school, you can't recruit, well, for the most part. You're not supposed to, right? You're dealt, for the most part, the guys that are kids are growing up in the houses around your neighborhood, right? Around the school, right? The rooftops around the school. And at the professional level, I mean, you can draft, but there's no real recruiting. There's a little bit in the offseason or whatever, but you're basically drafting guys, and the better you are, the worse guys you're drafting, right?
Yeah.
And the league is set up you have a worse schedule, and leagues set up to make you fail.
Parity. It's
set up for parity. But in college, you can go out and you can get the Jimmies and Joes, and now more than ever, you can get them wherever you're at because you can spend money. Yeah. You can just write checks and shell out whatever you want for your team. And I think now more than ever, college coaches can make the biggest impact on the sport than any other level.
We'll take a break. We'll come back. Mick Schaefer is with us. We'll play a little game of Learned.
Yeah.
Funniest.
I got a lot.
And best.
I might have 2 for every category. Well, I just went off this weekend.
It can be yours and Jason's.
That's right.
Give Jason his. So you'll
like
do
it.
2. Look at you. You're just so thoughtful.
Prepping on a holiday, man.
Wow. Look at you. Take a break. Come back to Zone Sports Radio 810 WHB. Mick Schaefer, who's yawning. He's tired.
Mm-hmm. I got my coffee.
Black coffee?
No. I got to have some sugar in there, some foo-foo. It's a farty, foamy latte.
Yeah, grow up.
Yeah.
Black coffee's where it's at.
Is it? You're drinking neutrals here.
And they're delicious. Learn Funniest Best. Brought to you by Neutrals. Keep it tasty on game day. Made with real vodka and real juice. Neutral is the ultimate game day drink. I was crushing Neutrals all weekend long on Saturday. I made sure I tried this is a new pack because the original pack is no longer with us. It is phenomenal. They have different flavors, but pineapple, watermelon, black cherry, orange. It's 100 calories, no sugar added, gluten-free. Made with real juice, by the way, and you can tell. As a big fan of pineapple, I don't know if you know this, Mick.
Yeah.
Big pineapple guy. Huge.
That fits.
Huge pineapple guy. And the pineapple neutrals are top tier. Extremely good. They're refreshing. I liked it. I was out all Saturday. We were playing some games, playing spike ball, played some volleyball, played some cornhole, played some beer pong.
Nice.
Played a whole bunch of games, just the gamut of games. Played some Super Smash Bros. For good measure.
Golly.
And what kept me going? Neutrals. They did, man. They're delicious. I'm going to give you one.
I have a fridge full of them.
Well, good for you. So then
I'll still take them.
Then you know they're delicious. No, I'm not. You don't get any more.
Yeah.
I'll give maybe Darcy one. No, you can't. He's working. Sorry.
Some of
They're
us have to work.
my wife's go-to.
They're delicious. I'm just telling you, Mick, neutrals are delicious. All right, learned. Learned Funniest Best. We'll start with you, Mick. What did you learn?
There's a couple things I learned. I learned, only one quarterback drafted in the entire 2022 draft is still with that team. Is still with his drafted team.
And what year is this? 2022?
2022. Let's run down. Who is it?
2022. So 3 years ago. That's Drake May was the 24. 22.
It's Kenny Pickett's draft.
Okay, Kenny Pickett's draft. Wow.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 quarterbacks taken. 22.
Kyle Trask.
He was not taken in the 22 draft.
Dang it. Who's the only one left?
It was a late pick.
That's
some might say the latest.
Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy, the only one.
That's why I was thinking of Kyle Trask.
Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ridder, Malik Willis, Matt Corral. Was he Ole Miss?
Yeah, he was Ole Miss.
Bailey Zappi, Sam Howell, Chris Oladokun. I didn't know he was drafted. Skylar Thompson, Brock Purdy.
What a bad quarterback class.
Yeah.
Not
a good one.
Historically bad.
Yikes.
Brock's making money.
All right, so we learned that. What did Jason learn? Since you said he had two,
That's right.
so you have Jason.
So I'll assign this one to Jason. Jason learned that a male guinea pig named Randy broke into a female-only enclosure and impregnated all 100 female guinea pigs.
Yeah, I saw that too. That's crazy.
He was Randy.
Jason would say that.
He would say that.
Nice one, Jason.
Jeez. So inappropriate.
Wow, Randy. He was Randy. Yeah, you're right.
He's very Randy.
Do you think his name was actually Randy or they named him that afterwards? Like his name was Mike beforehand.
Right? Yeah,
No, his name's Randy.
No, yeah.
All right, Darcy, what'd you learn?
I learned that the Chiefs today announced a new partnership with Cheez-Its.
Yeah.
And now that is the official snack of the Chiefs in Germany. And Cheez-Its only became available in Germany in August of 2025.
Wow. God, what a
Do they still have
military state, man.
What a horrible existence.
Do they still have the wall up or something? Like, what is going on?
Right? Might
crazy.
as well. I was over there in 23 for the Chiefs game while, not East Berlin anymore or East Germany or any of that. It's not occupied. Heavy military presence. They're not afraid to just show up and just be there and big guns being shown.
And you couldn't enjoy a nice box of Cheez-Its.
You could not
If
until
you tried.
recently. Yeah.
Well, it's dangerous.
Now you can.
All right, I learned, I watched Dirty Dancing for the first time last night. Good movie. Good program, quite frankly.
Good program.
Dirty Dancing. I didn't know that song that's in there. I was like, I like this song. I thought it was Christopher Cross.
Patrick Swayze.
It's Patrick Swayze.
Yeah.
He sung "She's Like the Wind."
Yes.
If you listen to that, I was like, is this like a Christopher Cross song that I've never heard before?
Why do you think Christopher Cross?
The drums, guitars, the voice, not as much, but like I could kind of see it. But the guitar part and the drum, like the instrumental aspect of the song was, and "She's Like the Wind." "Ride Like the Wind" is literally a Christopher Cross song.
Okay.
I thought it was Christopher Cross. I looked it up. Patrick Swayze. So I learned that dude got some pipes and wrote a really good song.
Yeah.
And was in a really good movie.
That's good that you're coming around and learning about Dirty Dancing.
Dude, why was his shirt always off, though? He never wore a shirt.
Why was the dad the bad guy when he didn't want like this ne'er-do-well 25-year-old messing around with his 17-year-old daughter?
Yeah, I also thought that too. Like
The times.
when he goes in there and to the front door and he's like, "Leave," and "I know what you did," like all that stuff. It's like, I thought you would say that. Well, how's he supposed to know?
Yeah.
How the heck is he supposed to know that you weren't the one that impregnated the lady
Exactly.
and got like?
It's a very easy
That you said
conclusion
on the
to come
doorstep.
to.
On the
Yeah.
doorstep, you said, "I'm responsible for her."
Yeah.
Right? Like that's what you said earlier on in the movie. So how is the dad supposed? Dad's not the bad guy.
Not at all.
Dad's not the bad guy. There.
Well, when you watched it as a kid, you thought that. Did you know that they had somebody else lined up for the part, and he wasn't a huge star at the time, and the guy fell through, so they needed somebody, and somebody suggested Patrick Swayze. They're like, "Can he dance?" So they go and they ask Patrick Swayze, "Can you dance?" He's like, "Well, my mom is so-and-so Swayze. She ran the top-ranked dance studio in the entire state of Texas for like 20 years. So yeah, I can dance." Like, turns out I'm the best dancer you could find here. And he was amazing at it. And everything was in place. And then they were like, we're gonna find the girl here. And he's like, "Awesome." And they're like, "We found the girl." He goes, "Awesome. I'll work with anybody unless it's Jennifer Grey." It just so happened to be Jennifer Grey because they had worked on Red Dawn together and dated while on set, and the breakup happened, and it was not a good breakup. And so they had to get both their parties together to be like, "Hey, can you guys be mature enough to do a movie together?" And they were. And at the end, the final scene, when he jumps off the stage, I know a lot about Dirty Dancing here.
Yeah, I like this.
So he had torn his ACL, basically. Just torn it. And it was swollen up. It was bad. And so they still had to do the thing where he jumps off the stage and does the, puts them up in the air and all that stuff. And they faced it was going to be months. It could be out, or weeks and weeks. And so he's like, "No, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it." And they got everything in place. They're like, "We have one take for this."
Yeah.
And he goes and he kills it on the first take. And they're like, "Thank you, Patrick. We're good." He goes, "You know what? I can do it again." Did it 2 more times.
Seriously.
On a torn up knee. Yeah.
Good for Patrick Swayze.
What a guy.
Badass.
An all-timer. Yes.
Badass.
Great
Did
actor.
they ever get back together because of the
I
movie?
don't think they did. I don't think they did, no.
And why would his shit be 17? Like, that seemed a little weird. You could have at least gone 18
Yeah,
with it. That
like
seemed a little...
Michael said, kind of the times. What's it set in the 1950s?
Yeah,
60s?
I guess.
Yeah, but still.
They've got a song by Winger.
Can you just make her 19?
That's like the song by Winger, right? She's only 17.
There's a lot of
Daddy
references.
says she's
yes.
too young, but she's old enough
I
for me.
believe
Like, come on.
the Beatles, I believe. Yeah, a lot of...
Kiss.
A lot of...
Christine Sig. I mean, you just Kiss.
A lot of
in
bands, a
general.
lot of movies refer to, yes, underage.
Yeah, a little weird. A lot of weird. Funniest, we'll go with Darcy.
It's got to be Dylan Raiola impersonating Mahomes at Arrowhead. We saw that happen, was it over the weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was Thursday.
Thursday?
It counts.
I thought that was just, at what point does his camp come to him and say, "You got to stop"? Like, this is just getting embarrassing.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think so either. He did the whole jump up thing prior to the game that Patrick does.
And there's a pass there. They used to work out together. His dad basically moved him to, I think it's Bobby Stroop in Texas, right? They moved him there to work out and learn under Mahomes, and he has just taken everything.
Yeah,
under his wing.
I mean, the pregame jump, hype up
Yes,
screen,
yeah,
the finger wag.
When he's wanting the play to come in,
and, but he's also like,
Even
yeah,
his run. He runs like him.
But then he even talks about like, well, I'm not trying to. We just, what do you mean? You've literally copied everything about him. Of course, people are going to think that you copy him.
Look, we'll see. Was he going to cut his hair? That'd be funny if you did.
That would be really good.
That'd be really funny.
Funniest for me are tennis players' reactions. We've had the U.S. Open up here in the office watching some U.S. Open tennis, and my goodness, I was watching one earlier. The reactions, next level. It's like dude had gotten shot by a sniper. I don't understand the emotional reaction to every single point. How can you be that emotional? Of course, the guy that was super emotional lost, obviously. He probably went through 3 rackets. I mean, he lost a point, just chucked it. One that was called out. I think it was actually out. And he starts, like, yelling at the umpire. What, are they umpires in tennis?
Yeah.
I find it hilarious that tennis players have zero ability to control their emotions.
Well, it looks exhausting playing, if you're a guy, 5 sets maybe, right?
Oh,
and a
agree.
girl
I don't
to
disagree,
3. Why would you waste energy with all those antics?
I mean, he literally went through just chucking and yelling. I'm like, every point, every single point. I don't think he knew that there's 5 sets. I don't think he knew that you go up to what 40 and then you have deuce and all that. But
there you go. Yeah.
I just think he was like, it's just every point. It's love, and you just got to win 1 point, apparently, according to that guy.
Did you see the ladies? It was a round or 2 ago, and it was involved an American. I can't remember her name, and I can't remember the country the other lady was from. She was upset at the American for something that happened way earlier in the match, like a ball trickled over the net, and I guess it is in tennis. It's the decorum to throw your hand up and say, I got lucky there. She didn't do it. So after the match, for that one little point after the match, she accosted her and they got in a big old argument. And
tennis seems so silly to me. It feels like everyone just gets the sport is cool, but the people that
maybe
we've
they're
watched
doing on purpose to get us to talk about it because it is tennis.
True.
Yeah.
All right. Funniest for Mick first or
Funniest
Jason
for
first?
me, my daughter is a record player now. Sterling, she's like you. She's old school. She's going to grow a mustache and smoke a pipe, all that stuff. So she, it was her birthday. My brother got her a record. It's going to be the Taylor Swift record coming out, an early release of it, right? And she was so excited. I was like, well, I got to get you a record player. So I got a record player. Let's go get some more vinyl. She want to go. So we go to Walmart where you get records apparently, and wasn't a whole lot of selection. So she grabbed 2 there, and then she grabbed a couple more, and she's like, well, there's more selection of these. I'm going to play these little ones on there. And I looked, CDs. She grabbed CDs thinking they'd be records as well to play on the I'm like, no, those are CDs. We don't have a CD player. You cannot put those on the turntable.
Oh my gosh.
So she learned that CDs are not records.
That's the oldest I've ever felt in my entire life.
She's 14, so I'm surprised she knew about record players.
Is she going to try a cassette next?
Maybe. There's a little hole in there, yeah, spinning around. Sorry. Jason's funniest. Did you see Michigan refused to put out a depth chart ahead of their game with New Mexico this weekend, right? Michigan. Yeah, roll your eyes. Exactly. So stupid. So in response, New Mexico put out a depth chart, but on offense, they listed characters from Tom Hanks movies. Starting at left tackle was Chesley Sully Sullenberger. Starting at tight end was number 43, Jimmy Dugan from A League of Their Own. The running back, obviously, number 44, Forrest Gump, is there. But Catch Me If You Can, Man Called Otto, Dragnet, Turner and Hooch, Splash, all represented. Oh, it gets better. On defense, they put out a depth chart with nothing but Tom Cruise characters.
Oh, my gosh.
Apparently, Tom's 5'7", 170. No idea. The best is at linebacker, where it's Captain Pete Mitchell or Lieutenant Pete Mitchell, depending on whether it's Top Gun or Top Gun Maverick. And, of course, you have Jerry Maguire at safety.
Of course you do.
Right? You have Jack Reacher on the D-line, which is where you want to play him. And on special teams, anybody want to guess? Leonardo DiCaprio characters. Jordan Belfort was the punter from Wolf of Wall Street.
Good for him.
And some others as well. It was a great troll job by New Mexico. I was cheering for them quite a bit.
Yeah.
But they did not win
Always.
over Michigan.
Anyone against Michigan, I'm probably gonna root
Not
for.
this week. Go Big Blue.
Who they play?
OU. That's where game day is going to be. It's like the only top 25 game.
Okay. I'll still be rooting for. Oh man, that's tough.
No,
That's
it's
tough.
hard.
Ooh.
No.
Ugh. Icky. Best Lee Corso nailing every single pick.
I
in his
had
final
it.
final
Okay,
picks.
I'll take one of those.
I think everyone
We
had
all had it.
I think we all had it. Yeah. Let's just say the best
That
is
was
Lee
great.
Corso.
And there were tough games.
Florida State over
3
Bama.
top 10 teams. Or 3 top 10 games.
Hey, maybe he still has it. Maybe you zoom him in
Yeah, I
and
don't
just
think
do the.
so. This should have happened a long time ago, but
Yeah.
it was awesome to see the send off. They did a great job with it, I thought.
Did you tear up at all?
No, I don't
I
tear up.
honestly teared up a little
No,
bit.
you didn't. People just write that on social media to make themselves sound
Wait,
vulnerable
no.
and great.
Why would I
Nobody
lie about
tears
that?
up.
I teared
to make yourself sound vulnerable and
I
great.
teared up there, and I teared up during the end of Dirty Dancing.
You cried at Dirty Dancing?
No, the end. It was emotional. They came back.
Oh
are you
my
serious?
God,
I didn't
dude.
cry.
Yes, nobody cries at Dirty Dancing.
I didn't cry.
Nobody with a mustache, at least.
I had. You have. You tear up a little bit. You don't cry.
No, you don't. No, I don't. I don't know anybody that cried at Dirty
Lee
Dancing.
Corso.
Didn't cry at that.
You don't cry. I'm not talking like.
Or tear up.
Yeah.
None of that.
I have wet eyes. Okay.
You have what?
Wet eyes.
What is wet eyes? Is that a condition?
I could be.
It could be. You just made it up.
I have wet eyes. Sorry that I have emotions, Mick.
Sweaty eyes?
You need a
Yeah, I
You
have
need to mark
sweaty
this. You have
eyes.
Sweaty eyes.
They might be a little sweaty sometime. When Lee Corso made those picks, my eyes got a little sweaty.
Did they?
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Fair?
Sure. I guess. I don't know.
Piece of your childhood is ending.
It's better than crying over Dirty Dancing.
I didn't cry over Dirty Dancing. My eyes got wet during just at the end. With that song playing in the background, Don't You Forget About Me? Come on. Come on,
That's
Mick.
the song at the end. Don't you forget about me. Don't you
No, it's not that song. Is
forget
it?
about me.
No, that's not that song. That's
No, I don't think that song's
it's,
Dirty Dancing, dude.
It's the
That's another John Hughes movie.
Yeah. It's they're the same thing basically. What's the song? It's the you know what I'm talking about.
I know. I haven't seen Dirty Dancing forever, bud.
It's
I
made
didn't
for
just
the
discover
song.
Dirty Dancing this weekend and cry over it.
Well, I didn't cry over
I can't
it.
meet you on these points. I just can't.
What do you mean? Grow up. Have emotions.
I do.
I've had the time of my
I'm
life.
laughing right now. That's my emotion.
I've time of my life.
Yes, yeah,
that's
one.
what it was. That
Yeah,
was the
that
song
was
I was
it,
thinking
yeah.
of. Yeah, that's the same thing though. All right, we'll take a break. Come back. We'll see if Mick's eyes get watery in the break. This is on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Welcome back to the Zone. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, the Patrick Swayze of shows, Mick Schaefer. What was Jason's best? Was his also going to be Lee Corso?
My original best was going to be the new. I didn't know I was serving for 2, so I think I had 5 total.
5 total. Okay.
Yeah, I think best was going to be New Mexico. I don't know. There's just a lot.
Did you see that play? That wasn't New Mexico. The play where they snapped it on a. It was going to be a. Was it a QB sneak? And they snapped it underneath the quarterback's legs.
Oh, did they to the running back?
To the running back
awesome.
Who threw a touchdown. Which, by the way, shout out to the running back for one having great hands. Because it hopped. It's a one-hop. Like, well, no, because it's kind of hard because you're back there almost like in a shotgun type situation, but there's a quarterback between you. I don't know how the ball would almost get through without hitting the jungle bridge of the quarterback or having to be rolled.
It's a big jungle bridge. I mean, I think you can get it out low enough to where it's
like a stinger. It's like in golf, you're hitting a stinger or something with the tee.
I think when you snap, the ball isn't like at butt level. When it exits your legs as the snapper.
No, I get that. I just feel like it's a good chance of potentially racking the quarterback if you do that instead of the one hop.
You got to make sure you're up there high enough.
The one hop I thought was a good move. All I was give that running back some credit for the one hop scoop, looking like Vinny out there, and
looking like Patrick out there with Creed snaps.
Yeah. And it was funny because one of the edge rushers looks like he read it correctly and was going straight for the guy at the back, and he got it out quick. Didn't panic with the one hop and threw a touchdown.
It's a New Mexico guy?
I thought it was New Mexico was who did this.
I was thinking, here's a fun game, and I think I found a couple other states. North Dakota's state is green, right? North Dakota is green.
Okay.
Are there any other states out there where both of the major schools named after the state?
Ohio State. Aren't they both red?
No, green. Ohio's green. Have the same color. I've thought of 2 others. Roughly.
So Florida and Florida State, no. Tennessee and
there's no really Tennessee State.
Yeah.
There's no Nebraska State. So some don't.
Yeah, you can't really
fit, right?
Yeah.
They got big
Cal
schools.
and UCLA, kind of.
Well, that's not really Cal State, no.
Well, it's Cal State Fullerton,
and it's not. It's like really dark blue and really light blue, and like gold and yellow. Cal State. There's Cal State, Bakersfield. There's Cal State. Tons of Cal States. There's no one California state.
Okay. Well, sorry. I thought UCLA and Cal was decent.
That's not the same. I mean, there's gonna be California. There's a lot of schools.
Feels like their
colors are not like each other.
Okay, so Oregon and Oregon State, no. Washington State, no.
There's one in the West, though. I think
Arizona and Arizona State, no. Utah and Utah State,
no. Red and blue, basically.
I don't really know. Is there Nevada and Nevada State?
There's no Nevada State.
Yeah, I don't think so. We're just going to go through all the states, apparently.
You're getting close.
Wyoming and Wyoming State.
You're getting farther away.
Idaho and Idaho State.
No, that's not.
Colorado and Colorado State. No.
Just straight south of Colorado.
New Mexico.
Yes. I think their colors are pretty. Both are dark red, roughly. And then Arkansas and Arkansas State are both red.
Oh, yeah, good call.
Right? Yeah. Those are the 2 I've thought of. The 3, I guess, combined with North Dakota.
I'm proud of myself for knowing my geography pretty well, though. At least I was just going off.
Of course you're proud of yourself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, come on.
I mean, what?
Credit to me for knowing
Credit
geography.
To really? You're supposed to know geography.
What about New Hampshire State? We haven't tried any of those small northeastern colleges that are probably.
No. There's not really a New Hampshire State.
There might be. Probably
there might
online.
be, but
it might be an online school.
Might be, yeah.
I feel like that'd be an online school.
Yeah.
Could be.
Credit to you, though, for anything, really.
Why not?
You dressed yourself today.
I did.
Drove a car like an adult. Credit to you, though.
I did.
Credit to you. Good job.
Credit to Neutral.
Did a 4-hour show. That's pretty good.
Yeah, credit to me for that, yeah.